Come hang with the Woodward Sports Crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
With money on the line. Featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. And man, oh man, it's a Tuesday. Call it a Victory Tuesday. We had a Victory Monday yesterday. Thank you for everybody who tuned into that show. But we got the entire crew here back with us once again. Sam Flannel, my partner in crime as always. He's over there dancing. He's ready to go. He's fired up. JB in the sound booth. The GOAT. He's ready to go as well, JB. Welcome, my man. We love you. Just letting you know that, all right?
I love you guys, too.
All right, we got to let JB know that more often. You know how much we appreciate him.
Brian Branch.
For real. Our Brian Branch. Lucas Klotz, Toledo's finest, in the TD booth. They're holding it down for us. And, of course, guys, it's Tuesday. You know what happens every Tuesday. Matt Broder joins the show. He'll join us up until 8:15. We'll talk more about the Chargers-Lions games more in depth. But there it is, Broder from Woodward Knights.
What's up, guys?
Booner and Broder, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. How you feeling, Broder?
I'm doing great. Do Victory Tuesday, Victory Week.
We'll just have a Victory Week.
Yeah,
Screw
Victory
it.
Week.
Doesn't
Just
even
so
matter.
great after Lions dub.
Can't complain.
Yeah.
We can get used to this. We've had 7 of them. Got to take them in once at a time. All
8
right.
more.
Welcome, everybody, to the chat. I see it all. Tresha Miller, good morning, guys. I'm going to need you finally to acknowledge what I've been telling you for months. Josh Allen is neither great or elite. Damn. Okay. Trisha came right in firing. We appreciate you, Trisha. Justin Reed, my guys, as we live Sports Gang. Shout out to Justin Reed, Steve Lehman, Mike G, as always, Matt Nichols, and the rest of the crew, Rude Boy Gang. Everybody for joining the show. George Eagle, Jake as well. Freddie Felt 313 as well. All right, guys, let's get into it. Last night, Monday Night Football. Yeah, my betting career's over. I'm hanging up the jersey. It is now in the rafters. My parlays, I think over the last 10, I'm like 0 for 10. Thanks, Booner. Another L last night. But, hey, it is what it is. Easy, though. I tried to tail some of his NBA parlays.
Shout out to DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, and DeMar DeRozan, he was the last leg on Easy's parlay that we needed to hit because I was like, you know what? Maybe I hang out too much with Booner. Maybe I need to start tailing other people's parlays. No, I lost those 2. We're
Didn't
over
he
4.
shoot like 3 of 14 or some bullshit
Yeah, he
like
had
that?
historically, he
Yeah.
had his worst game of the season on a game where I needed him for my last leg. But you know what, guys? It's all good. We had to watch that atrocity, the Buffalo Bills last night, which they're cooked. They're 2-4 in the last 6 games. They started the season 3-1. They were feasting on some bad teams, and everyone assumed that they'd be the Buffalo Bills, in which we've seen over the last couple of years. That was me watching the game. It goes, of course you lose to the Denver Broncos, which, by the way, I don't want to get too ahead of myself here. I don't. Because maybe it's my ego because I picked the Broncos to win 10 games. They look pretty good.
Oh, stop
over
it.
the last couple of games,
Dude.
they don't look too bad. They beat the Chiefs and the Bills, and they beat them in some pretty ugly games.
They should have had 30 points based on the field position that they had numerous times.
Hey, all that matters is a W, all right? And they won. So
they're a 4-win team now. Or no, they're a 5-win team, aren't they? No,
they're
4-5.
They're
4-5.
They are 4-5, and Russell Wilson outplayed Josh Allen.
Which is true. But Russell Wilson...
Josh Allen had 3 turnovers.
Russell Wilson was living off checkdowns, and you made a great throw to Cortland Sutton, but Russell Wilson, I get he looked closer to vintage Russ, but that's the closest it's going to look all year. The Bills' defense is hurt. Their coach is abysmal at this point. Josh Allen is doing everything he can, and he's trying to do too much. They saw James Cook fumble on the first play of the game, and they're like, you know what? We're not going to use him. We don't need him. Yeah, obviously you needed him. On that one second to last drive, he had his 60-yard rush, which killed my parlay. That hurt, but they just have no chemistry in Buffalo right now.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs had 3-4 catches.
Yeah, you know what's bad, Lucas, and Sam, and this is how I know it's bad for the Bills. And we talked about this, a week ago? We asked, is that window closing slowly? And you could argue if you have someone like Josh Allen, although he's playing awful, at least prior years Josh Allen, or at least early in the season Josh Allen, that you feel like this team could be a contender no matter what. Guys, they're cooked. And you know what? You know what I'm concerned about even more is in some of these, and people are commenting too. Trisha Miller, Jeff trying to find victory in the jaws of his defeated theories. Yeah, and that's a yeah. No, you're right.
Bar.
That's a bar though.
No,
yeah, Trisha, you are correct.
That's not a bar.
But because it is a defeated theory. I thought the Broncos didn't win 10 games, and now I'm just defending them. But regardless, you have 2 team meetings in one season, and you're still losing games. I don't know if this is a Sean McDermott problem. I don't know who to blame, if it's an OC problem. But there's a problem in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And they stink.
Yeah.
But continue. Go ahead. Defend them.
Oh, man. No, I'm not. I can't defend the Buffalo Bills or Josh Allen at this point, and certainly not Sean McDermott. I mean, after all that had went on wrong with the Buffalo Bills, after all of the turnovers, they had actually managed to force the Denver Broncos into a missed field goal, and they had 12 men on the field. Fire everyone at this point if you're a Buffalo Bills fan. And I'll tell you what, they were one of those teams. I picked them to win the division. I picked them to... They weren't my pick to go to the Super Bowl out of the AFC. You all know who my pick is. The Chiefs, obviously. But the Buffalo Bills, I thought that they could go to the AFC Championship, and that is certainly not going to happen because they're not even going to make the playoffs. It is a shame. Josh Allen is a turnover machine, something that I've tried to fight for a very, very long time. But at this point, that's why last night was actually pretty sad for me, because I can't defend Josh Allen anymore. And now Trisha Miller can take a victory lap. Go ahead.
No disrespect whatsoever, but I'm sorry to tell everybody the truth.
And by the way, for all the people in the Woodward Sports Chat, the Morning Woodward Show audience, they're preaching, they're kind of spitting some bars this morning. I mean, here's another one. Dan Wood, Josh Allen is like the McDonald's milkshake machine, works about half the time.
That's
a bar.
That's too harsh.
Not this season. They're
This
5
season,
and
sure.
They're
Accurate.
5-5.
And this season, he is correct. Dan Wood is correct.
This season, it's correct. But Josh Allen was elite for about 3 years. This year,
We're not denying that. We're just talking right now.
oh, there's people in the chat that will. Trisha Miller, I know you will.
And even I bought into it, though. Guys, like, you read the headline and you read, well, team meeting. Latavius Murray calls it a players-only meeting. And I'm thinking, you know what? Like, maybe it could spark some juice, and maybe they'll go take it out on the Broncos. No, they lost again.
It was at home, too.
At home.
At home.
That's a problem.
Like, it's even worse.
And guys, Lucas, I know this is going to make your head explode, but I don't give a damn. Russell Wilson has 18 touchdowns and 4 picks. That's pretty damn good in a 104 passer.
He didn't play bad last night.
I'm not saying that Russell Wilson played bad, but they're like, oh, this looks like old Russ. Is Russ back? And then people, I guarantee, I'm not saying Jeff is, but they're going to be like, watch out for the Broncos. Like,
No.
Easy last night was like, Broncos are going to give the Lions a hard time. And I'm just like, maybe if the Lions come in absolutely sleepwalking like the Bills did last night, but there's no path. If you're a playoff team, there should be no path for the Denver Broncos to beat you this season. There should be absolutely none.
Yeah, but Lucas, this is and you know this. I mean, this is the NFL. You said that about the Chargers. Lions are better on offense, defense, special teams. They won by a field goal.
Is that what I said would happen? I said they might have won by. I said they were going to win by a touchdown. So I said all you need to do is stop them once or twice, which they did, and you win that game. David Montgomery needs to have 85 rushing yards, and you win that game. There's not a path. Like the Chargers played their best game, the best game they possibly could, and they still fell short. If the Broncos play the best game, they're still going to fall short.
Yeah, the Lions are better. I'm not going to go that far. But the Broncos, though, have been given teams that, I mean, their defense prior to this, they've held the last 3 opponents under 20 points. And I know they played the Chiefs, your Chiefs, but they held them under 9 points.
9.
So I'm not going to sit here and even make a case that the Lions should watch out for the Broncos, but these games aren't all gimmies. So, and you look at the schedule, it's so easy on paper that you have to probably point to a couple, like Dallas, obviously. But besides that, I'd say potentially the Saints and potentially the Broncos. I would say this though, Lucas. Would you give me this? As a Lions fan, you're thinking more about the Broncos than the Vikings.
No.
Wow,
No.
I'm gonna disagree with that one.
No.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah. I'm gonna disagree.
doing here?
I'm gonna disagree just because I think Sean Payton's a better coach, and I think that that defense has better players.
Sean Payton is a better coach, but Kevin O'Connell's have a better coaching season. The Lions are definitely going to struggle against a quarterback that has less tape and is more mobile than Russell Wilson. TJ Hawkinson knows this defense. You can say what you want, but Jordan Addison's nice. Justin Jefferson may be coming back. I still think the Lions are going to beat the Vikings, but am I more worried about a divisional opponent that's kind of hot right now, or a team that's 4-5 and look like absolute dog shit through the first half of the season is waiting to come back down to earth?
Okay. I just maybe it's just my thought process on Josh Dobbs. I don't think he's as great as maybe you think he is.
We just had the same conversation yesterday. Josh Dobbs is a good, like, Gardner Minshew level quarterback that's mobile, and we said the same things yesterday. There's not a lot of film on him.
Russell
The Vikings
Wilson's
will
mobile.
Also come back down to earth. Russell Wilson is also washed. He's not the Russell Wilson that he is. He's a probably B quarterback when he used to be an A- quarterback.
And personally, I think even Russell cooked is better than Dobbs.
Maybe if you're going to take career-wise, but in the last 4 weeks when everybody's been sucking the Broncos and the Vikings off, like Josh Dobbs recently has looked better than Russell Wilson. I'm not saying he's going to, but as of right now, I'm definitely more worried about the Vikings than I am the Broncos.
Okay.
Especially at home.
Yeah, well, I'm talking both. Where the Broncos is at home.
Yeah, that's
so
what
I'm
I'm
talking
saying.
Vikings, Broncos at Ford Field. I'm looking more at the Broncos.
Not I.
I'm not even the Vikings. Me, man. Like,
not I.
Okay, that run game, right? Javonte Williams versus Alexander Madison.
Look at the Lions' run defense. Austin Eckler didn't even do shit.
But I'm just saying, I'm talking like from an on paper standpoint. Like Javonte Williams is a better back than anyone the Vikings have.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like that's
but the Vikings' offensive line is better,
and they have Surtain, who's better than any corner they have.
Absolutely, but who's a better overall defense? The Vikings. That's been shown.
Take Danielle Hunter out. I disagree.
But you know that, okay, they take Pat Surtain out.
Oh, they still have Simmons.
Simmons. We're relying on Justin Simmons.
They have better players. That's my point.
They probably do, but it's overall unit and coaching right now. The Vikings look like a better team, and they're a divisional opponent that has a lot more film on the Lions.
Okay, divisional. That's the only thing I'll give you. It's divisional.
If that's what you want to get.
Divisional. Okay, that's fair.
If Justin Jefferson is back, where do you stand on this?
Because who's their quarterback? Josh Dobbs. I mean, Justin. Dude, I don't know. You listen. You might think Josh Dobbs. And I'm not saying you think he's great, but like, dude, he's. I don't know.
When did I ever say Josh Dobbs is great? Everybody. I literally just said yesterday on the show. Josh Dobbs is going to come back to earth.
When Justin Jefferson gets back,
because Justin Jefferson is one of the, if not,
he's great.
He's better than any player on the Denver Broncos. Period.
But who's throwing him the ball?
Who is throwing Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton the ball, who probably combined for like 80 receiving yards last night?
I'm just saying.
And
we'll see how this ages, okay? How about that?
We'll do that.
We'll see how this ages. We'll revisit this. But guys, by the way, I'm not saying the Broncos game matters more than the Vikings. You got to win your divisional opponents. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying from a team perspective, who I think's playing better right now, like the Vikings. They look good with Dobbs. I just think the Broncos with that defense, because I thought that's a defense that got scored 70 on. And they don't look like that defense over the last couple of weeks.
No.
They look a little different. But regardless.
Yeah.
They said bet on it. We can do a bagel or something. We'll do something. We'll do a friendly bet. Who puts up more of a fight? Well, that's not fair because it is divisional. I guess you can bring that up because divisional opponents are always a little closer. Huh? But I'll do a bet on it. I'll do a bet on it. I'll go with Bronco. The Broncos are a tougher game.
We'll do the home games too. We'll judge
home games, not the away games. Yep. There you go. That's fair. All right. I don't know why we just argued for 20 minutes on that. All right. Let's go to break. We got Broder joining the show. We'll recap Lions, Chargers, and much more. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Hamlin Pub because I think I need a drink right now. We'll go to the Hamlin Pub to get that. They got game day specials every NFL game in Michigan sports. Lucas would probably like to go here with Josh Dobbs, to be honest with you. Starting at $8. They got half off pizza on a Thursday or game day specials included. Visit a location today and experience your new favorite pub for all things sports. Josh Dobbs.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
Join Woodward Sports and Long Drink live this Sunday for the official Lions VIP tailgate party. It's at Eastern Market in Shed number 5, and it is going to be a bash starting at 9:30 a.m. until game time. Guess who has 2 thumbs and is going to be there? This guy.
Hell yeah.
The official Lions tailgate is
guy.
back and better than ever. How would you like to pregame with Woodward Sports and be treated like a VIP? Food, beverages, and entertainment all included. Get your tickets online today at bullseyeeventgroup.com or win some from Woodward Sports today. Just subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on IG, and direct message Lions VIP.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Guys, and we got a lot to get to, man. Matt Broder joining the show. I love Tuesdays. We got Broder here. He's in the flesh, and we're going to talk to him about the Lions-Chargers game. And I'll start it off. Just your initial reaction. Didn't play out how you thought it'd play out, but still, a win's a win, and that's all that matters, Broder.
Yeah,
Despite what the defense looked like.
100%. And the focus really is on the offense. And there are things that the defense needs to clean up for sure. But to see the game plan that Ben Johnson put together after a bye week, going out to the West Coast, playing a high-powered offense, it was really special to see the things he could do with this healthy offensive line, with all his weapons at his disposal. The offense looked fantastic. It was hard. We just had Woodward and Maine. It was difficult picking who to give a game ball or the player of the game to, because you could give it to 5 or 6 different people, if not the entire offensive line.
Yeah, that's true.
Upon which Gabby did.
Hey, speaking of this offense and this offensive line, I would say personally, and this is just my opinion, that even though their offense has been great this whole season, even though these players are emerging superstars, I would say that in the Chargers game, both Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown had their best games of the entire season, which was absolutely unbelievable. Do you think there's any chance that both of them make first-team All-Pro this season?
That's a serious possibility. First team may be difficult. Maybe difficult more for Amon-Ra St. Brown, but they both should be in the All-Pro discussion. And if not, a second, is there third team All-Pro? They should. No. There aren't, but there might be 6 receivers. They should definitely be in consideration. Amon-Ra St. Brown has to be in that conversation as one of the top 5 or 6 receivers in the entire league. And Penei Sewell, you can't say enough good things about him. The dude is a warrior.
Yeah, he is.
And he just continues to just push that offensive line forward. If you just watch him closely in that game on Sunday, he had a special performance.
Yeah, he did. And Penei Sewell, man, I think him and Amon-Ra St. Brown, probably the easiest contract extensions you can get done.
Give it to him now.
Yeah, like right at this moment. Well, I want to ask you, because you mentioned it, and you gave credit to Ben Johnson after a bye week in his game plan. Well, you look at the opposite side of the ball after a bye week, it didn't look great. And I'm not going to come out and say, like a lot of people, not a lot, but there's some people, fire Aaron Glenn this. I don't think it's at that point.
No.
But your thoughts on the defense, and also not just the defense, the lack of pressure. I know there was no sacks in the game, so people could say, well, the Chargers didn't get a sack, and they have better talent on their defensive line. But to you, that Chargers offensive line ain't great pass blocking, and they didn't get pressure really besides Aiden Hutchinson. But your thoughts on the lack of pressure in the defense overall? Yesterday.
We wanted to see a little bit more pressure. It's hard looking back on a win. They came together when needed, and the team managed to escape with a win. But as this team, as fans, as media start looking towards the playoffs, we wanted to see a little better performance, especially out of that defensive line against a good team, against a good quarterback, regardless of if their offensive line is strong or not. And it just didn't seem like they could affect Justin Herbert enough. And I don't know, there aren't many teams that could slow down the Chargers offense on Sunday, but they didn't do anything to really affect Justin Herbert, and that is worrisome. I don't think Aaron Glenn had his worst game of his career of the year. It wasn't as bad as it looked, but that pressure that the defensive line wasn't able to get, it's troublesome when you start thinking about going against the Eagles, the 49ers, whoever they see in the playoffs. They're going to need to do something to disrupt those quarterbacks, disrupt that offense. There were some good things. I mean, the rush defense, I think it was their best rush defense game, at least ranked by PFF of the season, and they did some good things that Kirby Joseph interception. That one takeaway was huge. But there are a lot of improvements that they need to really compete for a Super Bowl. They got to improve.
And I'm glad you said that. And real quick, I just want to kind of, on top of the question I just asked, it kind of goes to what you just said too. It goes back to the quarterbacks they face, right? You got Mahomes on the road. And the game was close, and I'm not trying to be negative Nancy, but Kadarius Toney dropped a ton of footballs.
Yeah.
So, and then you play Lamar Jackson. We know how that turned out, of course. It was a complete meltdown, not just defensively, but defense didn't look great either. And then you play Herbert, and the defense didn't look great. Is it fair to be concerned as a Lions fan, if you're talking top of the NFC, you're talking Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, that if you want to make it far in the postseason, this defense is to get it together against better quarterbacks than Desmond Ridder?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's fair. I believe that these coaches will be able to develop some of these players, but that's totally speculation. That's totally, excuse me, we haven't seen it yet. We need the Josh Pascals to step up, the Charles Harris. We need James Houston to come back healthy and actually go get the quarterback, not mess around in coverage. There are a lot of things that this defense needs to improve on. Amongst the good things that some of them are doing, Cam Sutton didn't have his best game. Had some costly penalties at big moments, but there's a lot of good to take away, but there are improvements that need to be made. They got to develop these players for a playoff run.
Yeah, and despite all of the defensive woes, the bottom line is the Lions still got a big win. And think about this. I think this win might have even been bigger than we can even comprehend at this point. Because think about it, the Lions have already played, I would say, the only 3 great quarterbacks that they're going to play all season. They're 2-1 against those, and they're 4-1 on the road, and now they're 7-2, locked into the second seed at this point. How big of a game was this in terms of seeding and maybe even playoff positioning and their possibility of maybe making a Super Bowl run?
I think it's massive. I think this is a game we're going to look back on at the end of the season and be like, that's why we're the maybe 1 seed.
Sure.
That's why we got this 2 seed maybe and have a favorable matchup at home. We'll see. I just think also looking at the grand scheme of things, that's a game that 1 seeds win. That's a game that Super Bowl contenders win during the season. You go into you go out west and play a top quarterback in a shootout, and you come out victorious. It sets up the rest of the season. You look at the schedule, you could almost say that they could run off 8 straight. They should be favored in all games. You don't expect them to win all 8. So taking care of business here, it leaves open the room for one of those floppers for you to maybe lay an egg later in the season. You don't want it to be in the division games, but the fact that they were able to get that dub against the Chargers, now the easy part of the schedule starts coming. You got to take care of business.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and Broder, notice on Sunday that Josh Reynolds, he was kind of, I don't know if he's hurt, but he's not out there as much. In the last 2 games, his production's been kind of lower. Jamison Williams out there a little bit more. Antoine Green out there as well. Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to be coming from an injury and making his debut soon. So what's kind of the deal with this receiving corps? Do you think Josh Reynolds, he's getting pushed back a little bit? And if so, is it due to injury, or is it because just maybe they're going to try to get J-Mo going, or Donovan Peoples-Jones?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of a reactionary situations that Ben Johnson figures out as games go along, or as they take the field in a first quarter and see what that defense is trying to do to them. For me, this one, I thought playing some of those guys, the Khalif Raymonds, the Jamison Williams, some swing runs to the outside from Jahmyr Gibbs. I think a lot of this, with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta patrolling the center of the field, with Derwin James right there defending a lot of the center of the field too, there wasn't as much room for Josh Reynolds in this game. He did drop that 1 pass earlier in the game. I think he had another first down catch. But to me, with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack rushing off the edges with some decent secondary play, they needed Jahmyr Gibbs to have success running to the outside. Or some of these, even Amon-Ra St. Brown had a couple runs to the outside, or a run to the outside. They needed to do that so that defense couldn't collapse the pocket, collapse on David Montgomery or Jahmyr Gibbs running in between the tackles.
Yeah.
So I guess that was a long-winded answer of saying, I think whatever the defense gives to them, Ben Johnson and this offense is now savvy enough to adjust and adapt, not just play the game that they were planning on going into, to be able to go to their maybe second or third option, depending on what they're seeing.
Yeah, and speaking of some of the run game, you mentioned it with Jahmyr, David Montgomery, those two. Thunder and Lightning. And we made the case yesterday that they're the best backfield duo in the NFL. What are your thoughts on kind of seeing them for the first time together, fully playing at their best? Because Jameer early in the season maybe wasn't getting the touches, but now that he's unleashed and you got David back and he's playing well, your thoughts on the backfield, and are we off to the best backfield duo in the NFL?
I think so.
Because it was Brees and Delvin, but Delvin's cooked at this point. So
no pun intended,
I see
right?
what you did there. You didn't even mean to do that?
See, it's Broder being in the damn room. It's like a dad joke just start
Daddy was
out.
dropping some bars on Woodward and Maine this morning. It's spreading like the flu. But no, this running back duo it's special, and it's gonna be special. It's gonna keep improving. This was the first time we got to see the poetry in motion. This is what the vision was when Brad Holmes was slamming that table, and Ben Johnson and Dane Campbell were thinking about what this offense could be like. We didn't know which running back was going to be running in between the tackles, bouncing it to the outside. They both run physically. They both can catch it out of the backfield. And who knew? Who knew David Montgomery could break one for 75? Like he's no Jahmyr Gibbs in terms of explosiveness, but David Montgomery still has some wiggle. He can still move.
Yeah.
And you see that thing, J-Mo with the block. You can't bring that play up without bringing up J-Mo's block. It was an awesome team effort to make that all work. What, is there some...
No, he just cut to Sam when he said J-Mo's block.
Oh! I forgot. I might have missed the show yesterday morning. You don't care about that block?
Oh, I care about that block.
He does.
It was a good block.
I sensed some angst.
Broder's like, whoa, what's going on? No, but you're absolutely right. And you mentioned it. David can't do what Jameer's doing, but in terms of the speed and explosiveness, but Jahmyr can't do what David's doing with his physicality. So they complement each other very well. And when you have an offensive line like that, it makes things a lot smoother.
There will be games where David Montgomery does rush the ball for 30 times again. They just realize this is what we need to do to win. But I think their blueprint for success, especially in the playoffs, especially against other high-powered offenses, is to use these two all over the field in a lot of different ways. Create those mismatches, open up the field for the St. Browns and Laportas.
All right, thank you, Matt Broder. You're the man. If you want to stay for a little bit longer, we're going to ask this question.
I hear something's happening. I'll stay.
Yeah, okay, it's gonna get heated. It's gonna get very.
I got to see this up close
and I want the people, because I can't wait because we haven't really shared this yet. Me and Lucas just kind of yelled about it at each other,
For
but
like 30 seconds.
It was a quick little.
We're like, we're saving it for the show.
I can't wait to get into this. All right, cool. Broder will join us for that.
Cool.
But first, can you tell us about our friends over at Premier Pet?
Oh,
Jake and Milo.
Jake and Milo. When it comes to your pet, don't settle. I don't settle when it comes to my golden retriever, Jake, and my orange cat, Milo. Premier Pet has all of the food, the treats, the toys that you could possibly want. Give your pet the best like I give my pet the best. Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Family owned and operated for over 30 years. 13 Metro Detroit locations, over 60 brands of food, lowest prices, and curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best. Visit their website at premierpetsupply.com.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like a landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Woodward Sports own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot off the press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White & Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
how would you like to win a $100K Vegas getaway?
I
Take
would.
your friends and live it up in the city that never sleeps. I know I would too, but man, come on. It's the Centron Energy Drink It and Live It sweepstakes. Purchase a 24-pack today. Enter for your chance to win. Register at drinkcentron.com and buy Centron at your local Meijer store. It's Centron, the healthier energy drink with great taste. Look good, feel great, and be the best version of yourself. Once again, that website, drinkcentron.com/Vegas.
Man, talking Detroit Lions here on the Morning Woodward Show. Appreciate you guys for joining. Don't forget, we're only 25 away from 100 likes. Let's hit that goal. You guys crushed it yesterday. Crushed it. We set the tone for the network. And it just, with the help of the people, no one was touching that like count. There was no way. And it was because of you guys. So thank you, seriously, for all your support.
Had a lot of people jealous.
Yeah,
a lot.
Can you confirm that, JB?
I can confirm that, yes. A lot of people were jealous.
The 2 to 4 show definitely did not like that.
Like, are you actually being real?
Well, I mean, I can tell you that they didn't. Like, just by knowing, like,
Oh,
they're a competitive show.
Oh,
They
yeah.
review, they look at the analytics.
Those kids in the morning, man. Okay, with the help of the people. The help of the people, man. You guys are crushing. Thank you. All right, you introduce this, Lucas, and then you lay the foundation.
I'll lay the foundation.
Okay.
So, speaking of the 2 to 4 show, shout out Braylon Edwards, obviously a friend of the network, a co-worker of the network, but he put this out on Twitter. He said, real question to Lions fans. If you had to pick, and we're not saying that either of these are bad options, would you rather have the number 1 seed in a bye? So obviously, number 1 seed, skip the wild card round, you'd be playing the winner of a wild card round at home, or the number 2 seed, which gives you 2 home games and no break in the momentum. So a lot of times people worry about being a really good team in the regular season, taking a week off in the bye, and then getting smacked at home in the opening round. Or you get smacked in the wild card round. That's kind of like the two negative options there. So if you guys had to pick, would you rather have a first round bye and sit a week, or play right off the bat in the wild card round? Me and Jeff will have our answers, but go ahead and
yeah, you know what? How about this? We won't give ours. How about we go to Sam first? Let's see what Sam and Broder say, and then we'll get our, because we already know how we feel. But you go first, Sam. As a Lions fan, what would you rather have?
I think the fact that this is even a question is just insane at this point. You want the number 1 seed.
Hell yeah!
Why the hell would you not want the number 1 seed? You know what the number 1 seed guarantees you? That you can go this whole season, maybe even win the goddamn Super Bowl without having to go to Philly or San Francisco even once. Doesn't that sound pretty good? Wouldn't you feel a lot better about playing the Eagles or the 49ers at Ford Field instead of on the road? And think about this. We talk about, it would be easier to win an opening round, a wild card weekend playoff game. But you know what else? In the division round, if you are the number 1 seed, you're probably not gonna face the Eagles or the 49ers. They are gonna face each other, and the Lions are going to get the lowest remaining seed. So they might get the Saints or somebody like that, or even the Buccaneers. So this whole discussion to me is just lunacy. I know what you guys have chosen, and I'm not going to give it away, but whoever says that you'd rather them have a worse record and be the 2 seed and potentially have to go on the fucking road when you wouldn't have to if you're the 1 seed, and you'd have less games to win to get to the Super Bowl and win said Super Bowl, I'm sorry. I don't F with that logic at all.
Well, now Broder.
Oh boy. Sam. I'm with you 150%. Like, there's no question in my mind. You got to get that bye for all the reasons you just said, and I'll be short-winded with this. Also, from an injury perspective, we just saw how good this offense looked after a bye week when they were able to get their entire offensive line healthy. By the end of the season, they're going to be a little bit banged up. That extra week means everything. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson, C.D. Deuce, is expected to come back around that time. He may be able to come back for the last regular season game. But having that bye week, if you're able to hold them out to the second round of the playoffs, have another week to get healthy, get more in game shape, that could be huge for this team. So it's not even a question. You take the bye. It's not like there's a month off like college football. It's 1 week. This team just proved they can do it.
Oh, you know what? Just to add a little, JB, what would you rather have? Huh?
Oh boy. Selfishly, I would like that number 1 seed in that bye. I'm just saying, if you get the rest of the squad back healthy, as Broder said, CD Deuce, you're expecting him to be back. You would love to him to have that extra week off to make sure he's 100% ready to go. This gives Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson a little bit more time to scheme up who they're going to go against as well too. And like I said, you can just sit back, relax, watch your competition, and then game plan for what you're about to do next. And it's a home game as well too, which I selfishly would like to see. So give me that number 1 seed in the bye.
So before I let Lucas go here, because Lucas, you're gonna fight off the mob, all right?
I'm standing on my own hill here.
Okay, because I'm with you guys, and me and Lucas argue about this. In the NFL, you guys know how it is. You're either injured or you're hurt. So if you have a week to get healthy, and on top of that, you have the number 1 seed, so all roads lead through Detroit. With that home field advantage, to me, it's a no-brainer. But Lucas, yeah.
Listen, I said 1 seed at first too, but then I really thought about it. What is the goal of this season for the Detroit Lions? To win the division and win a playoff game. That's bare minimum. You're telling me if the Lions, they have the first round bye, the Saints are not coming in Detroit if that's what's happening. You're having either the Cowboys, the Eagles, or the 49ers. One of those 3 teams are coming in Detroit. That is just a fact. You can throw the Seahawks in. Seahawks I'll be confident in. I'll be a little bit more confident in that. But when you're telling me, as a Detroit Lions fan who has sat here my whole life and not seen one playoff win, if the Lions get a first round bye and then were to blow that at Ford Field to a very legitimate playoff Super Bowl contender, where did we just go?
Okay.
And I would be happy with the first round bye. Do not get me wrong. But for the objective, what this season is, win the division, win a playoff game. I would much rather win the division and play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or the New Orleans Saints or the Minnesota Vikings at home in the wild card round, and then you still get another divisional game at home in Ford Field. I just think that is the safest opportunity to get out what you came in the season for, because they can still make the playoffs or the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. I understand it's not as likely, but if you're telling me you have more confidence in a better team coming into Ford Field when it would already be happening if you win the wild card round, then the Minnesota Vikings are like the definition of like a 6 or 7 seed. I'm just not with it. I think you have a better chance at winning a playoff game if you get it right away.
See, but here's the thing, Lucas. You're not looking at the big picture of this. You're just looking at the playoff win, okay? And I get that.
That's what I need.
Okay,
this season is a wash.
You know, it'd be nice though if you have to win one less game to get to the Super Bowl, and you don't have to go to Philly or San Francisco. Isn't that cool too? It's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
Pretty cool.
It's not cool if you lose at home at the divisional round as the 1 seed. You would hear much.
Why are you? But that sounds like you're more scared than stoked. Why are you assuming they're going to lose?
I'm absolutely scared of the San Francisco 49ers, the Philadelphia Eagles coming into Detroit. Absolutely.
Well, I'd be more scared of Detroit visiting Philadelphia.
So would I. But I want a playoff win to guarantee that. If they get a playoff win and then they lose in Philadelphia or San Francisco, which would probably be in the championship round, I could be like, all right, the Lions just made significant steps. Let's go re-up. Let's add a defensive lineman. Let's go add a corner. And let's fucking run this shit back. We know that we can get to the playoffs and win a playoff game now. We have playoff experience. Everybody on this roster has a playoff win under their belt together. I'm not upset if we get the 1 seed whatsoever. I'm not going to make But if you're telling me which one has a more guaranteed chance at a playoff win, it's if you get that number 2 seed and you play a worse opponent right off the bat.
Look at this comment. Matt Nichols. Philly and San Francisco will play each other in round 2 if the Lions are the number 1 seed. Isn't that what you?
That's what I said.
That's what you'd want. Yeah, that's what Sam said. But isn't that what you'd want?
If you would want it, but then okay, what does that mean? One of those 2 teams are still coming into Detroit.
And I'll take it. I'll take them coming to Detroit.
I get that you'll take it, but I want a playoff win before that.
But you're looking at
a bye week is a win. That is a win.
Bye week that does not count as a playoff win.
Yeah, the number 1 seed is a bigger accomplishment.
It's not if you don't win a playoff game though.
Dude,
it's not if the Lions want to get the number 1 seed, first round bye, miss the playoffs. What did they just accomplish?
No, Broder, go.
They got to the second round of the playoffs.
No,
you're rephrasing.
A regular season team.
Lucas, you want a playoff win, but what you really want is to get to the next round of the playoffs. Just the fact that it's labeled a playoff win is because the Lions haven't had one in decades. But the goal is to get to the second round, to get to the third round. If you can get to the second round automatically without having to play a football game, you take that every day of the week.
strategically, you would. But then when you realize, okay, now San Francisco or Philadelphia are coming in, they just played a game, they're rolling right now, they're going to be having momentum, and then now all the pressure is on Detroit because they're at home. They're the number 1 seed. I want the Lions to not have the pressure on them and just go play out there, lose. If you win a wild card game, you just got exactly what you wanted and you came out this whole season with. Now you're playing with house money. If you're the number 1 seed in the NFC, you're the expected favorite to go and win a Super Bowl.
Hell yeah.
That's good.
That's what you want.
That is good, but that sets expectations up for a team that hasn't been there before. We have to work our way up to expectations. Give me a division win. Give me a playoff win.
No.
Because the thing is, I don't want to hear a fucking peep.
No.
If the Lions get the 1 seed, if they lose the division, everybody's like, oh.
Wait.
Where do you get a playoff win?
But continue, Sam. I don't. Go on.
Here's the thing, and I forgot who said this. You mentioned it. The thing, Lucas, and I'm not even trying to be a dick. I'm actually trying to just educate everybody. The Lions would not be facing the Eagles or the 49ers in the divisional round. They would be facing the lowest remaining seed. So in the divisional
Philly
round,
got the Giants last year.
They would be playing probably the Cowboys or the Seahawks or maybe the Saints or something like that. There's almost a 0% chance that they'd be playing the Eagles or the 49ers in the divisional round. It would be the NFC Championship. And I'm not, like I said, the NFL playoffs is weird. It's not like a perfect bracket. It's like highest remaining seed versus lowest remaining seed, and it would be 2-3, and it would be Lions 1-4.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't know if there'll be a team like the Giants, but let's just say there is a team that wins a playoff game. You'll get them after the bye week.
I understand.
So you're still gonna, you'll be favored in that game, and it'll be at Ford Field, and then you get to face one of the juggernauts at Ford Field.
Even if you would have that team in the second round, you'd still have that game at Ford Field. And my whole thing is, like, if they win the divisional, great. The NFC Championship, I don't give a fuck where it's at. Yes, you'd obviously prefer it to be at home. But as of right now, after the last 2-3 games, I'm not confident in the Detroit Lions in the playoffs beating a 49ers or Eagles team right now. I'm just not confident in that.
So we'd rather have it at home.
Guaranteed playoff win. I get that. You would prefer it at home, but what would I much rather have? The Lions hosting the NFC Championship game or a guaranteed playoff win? I would much rather have in this year, right now, I would much rather have a division win and a playoff win, just like you set out for. That guarantees it. And then you still have an opportunity to have that divisional game at home. I understand it's like crazy to think about.
It is crazy.
But I'm going for the risk reward right now. The risk is that you're potentially having a loss at home in the playoffs, which I do not want.
Well, no one wants it, Luke. Go back. Look at the number 1 seeds last year. Kansas City and then Philly. Kansas City avoided the Cincinnati Buffalo, where they had to face each other. They had to face the Jags. The Eagles avoided the Dallas San Francisco game. Those two teams have to run into each other, and they got the Giants.
Are the Lions at either point where the Chiefs or the Eagles at last year?
I'm not, but my point is, even if you get my point is, even if you get the 1 seed, it's not like you're immediately you're not immediately jumping into one of the better teams in your conference. You'll get the worst seed.
The NFL playoffs are a completely different animal. You have to learn how to win in the NFL playoffs. I want them to be able to warm up and then go play a real team. I don't want them just to play a real team off the bat. I'm sorry, I do not want to do that. That scares the shit out of me. As far as having this great season and then you don't get a playoff win, that scares the shit out of me.
I think this would be different if there were 2, 3, or 4 weeks in between. Like you get the number 1 seed, you don't get to play for a month, like a college football playoff where you can get out of rhythm and things can happen. But if it's just 1 week and they just proved how good they can be coming out of a bye week, like I don't think it's even a thought.
Okay, if we're gonna say how good, and I know we just gassed them up. If we're going to say how good they look coming off a bye week, how good did that defense looking up coming off a bye week?
I don't know. You said the Lions. This is
they got the win, and you're about to go right into what I'm saying. So
you said they're the best. They're better on all 3 phases. You said the Lions were than the Chargers.
They absolutely are.
Okay.
They absolutely are. So are they better on all 3 phases than the Eagles or 49ers?
And listen, but Lucas, you're missing the point. You're arguing you just want a playoff win, which but if you get the bye week. Now, we're chasing a Super Bowl.
I get that.
Like you got 2 wins to get there.
I understand that, but if my whole thing is, if you don't get one of those wins, that season is not like that season that we just had. If you lose in that first round, it's for nothing.
Yeah,
that's my. Like the whole thing of like that's
you got the number 1 seed.
That's not a playoff win. I'm sorry, because then you have to go in next year when that's going to be the real win now year. And that team has not won a playoff game together.
So, are the Lions frauds?
No, they're not frauds, but I don't
If you're the number 1 seed, they earn that. You're the number 1 seed in your conference. Now, am I going to confidently say they're better than the Eagles in San Francisco? I think it's close. But you'd have a week off. You'd rather face Seattle right off the bat.
If you're the 2 seed, you're not going to be facing Seattle. You're going to be facing the bottom tier of the NFC.
If you're the number 1 seed, you're going to face the worst seed anyway. If you're coming off a bye week.
But it could be a way better team than what it is. If the higher seeds win, now you have a top 4 team in the NFC coming into Ford Field, and I think even in the regular season, fans would be worried about that. So you're telling me in the playoffs you're not going to be worried about that? No, I want an easy win right off the bat to get what you came out in this season to do. That's just where I'm at with it.
So I view getting the first number 1 seed in a first round bye as a playoff win, as you're winning the first round. I know it's not literally like that, but that's how I see it. So I think a lot of people might share the same thought. Some people, I get what you're saying, Lucas. You want a playoff win, but I view a bye as the same. Like, I'm as happy. Well, I'll be disappointed either way if they win a first round game and then lose the second round versus getting a bye the first round and losing the second round, if that makes sense.
I just think literally like the on-field difference in a bye and a true like playoff win makes so much. Like, you talk about in 2-3 years what truly matters. Like, if they don't get a win in that divisional round, that almost hurts them, in my opinion.
I don't think so.
You need, like, if you look at even like the Eagles got spanked in the wild card round that first year. And then but at least they had playoff experience. Jalen Hurts had a playoff experience with this team to build a chemistry in the playoffs. If the Lions just go out there and have a bye, I'm not saying they get smoked. Like, I still would like the Lions' chances. I'm not going to be rooting against the Lions, obviously. But I want the Lions to get a playoff win more than anything this year.
Yeah, but you know what would be better than
that? Fucking terrific.
Yes.
That's what I want at the bare minimum next year. That's not what I want.
But the NFL,
this year.
but you have to. This isn't always like, hey, we're gonna win a playoff game this year, and then we're gonna make the Super Bowl next year. Like, if you have an opportunity to an easier path to make the Super Bowl, you take it, and that's the 1 seed.
I'm not disagreeing.
Like, undoubtedly, you take it, and you get healthy.
Just to stay where I was, grounded with what I came into at the beginning of 2022. What did I want? A division win and a playoff.
We all did. We all do.
So that's why I'm saying I think.
So you're willing to sacrifice the 1 seed to get
I'm not willing to sacrifice the 1 seed.
To get
I would be happy with the 1 seed. But what is a more ideal path to get a playoff win? It's the number 2 seed.
So, and you just talked about your concern about this defense, but you're cool with having to win more playoff games to reach a Super Bowl.
Because my whole
rather
thing
than
is
not
this
winning
year, I want a playoff win. Next, I would love a Super Bowl, obviously, but the bare minimum, I want a playoff win. I don't think
get to the second round.
Caliber defense as of right now.
You want a playoff win to get to the second round of the playoffs.
And then you can go and win one possibly there too, and then I'd be fucking thrilled. And
yeah,
then I'm not
same as getting the first seed. You just don't have to deal with the first round.
What?
Same as getting the first seed. You just don't have to play and risk injury and get through the first round.
But now you're playing a much more difficult opponent. At the end of the day, I would much rather get. What do you mean? What? You would 100% have a much more difficult opponent.
Yeah, that's what going through the playoffs is. You face the best teams each week.
So with the unexperienced playoff team in the Detroit Lions, who haven't had a serious team like this in I don't know how fucking long, I want them to get a playoff win, plain and simple. Whatever the easiest chance is, that's all I want. I understand what you like. I'm not going to be upset if the Lions get the 1 seed at all. But what is a better chance of getting a playoff win? It's the number 2 seed because you're playing the worst playoff opponent in the wild card round.
That's a scared take.
If it's scared, that's fine. But that's just where I'm at with it right now.
And that's coming from me, who I think this team will win a playoff game, and then the rest will figure itself out. If you have a chance to get the number 1 seed, and Jake says really quickly. Now, let me read this. The 1 seed wins like 72% of the time. It's a strong path to a win. Like,
if you the 1 seed, in most of the time, is a team that has been the 1 seed before and has a lot of playoff experience. If the Lions were 1 seed, they're not a fraud, but that is a totally different 1 seed than the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Patriots back in the day, the 49ers. It's a completely different team.
Well, luckily, you have a quarterback who's won a bunch of playoff games.
Absolutely, and so with the teams that have the 2 and 3 seeds in the NFC and AFC. That's why I'm like, dude, I don't want to play one of those teams in the first round.
Second round.
Our first round.
All right, well, that's the disagreement. All right, and Lucas, it's okay. You know,
we can agree to disagree.
We can agree to disagree.
But just so we're factually correct, what we keep saying is in the divisional round, the hardest possible opponent you could probably hope for is the Cowboys or the Seahawks, not the 49ers and the Eagles.
And the Seahawks that Lucas thinks they could be.
And Lucas, if this is your take, then I expect on the watch party when they play at Dallas, wear a Cowboys shirt, wear a Cowboys hat, maybe wear a Saints hat.
Do you think they could beat the Cowboys or the Seahawks?
No, because you obviously want them to lose some games so they don't get the 1 1 seed.
Hold on. Shut the fuck up for a second, because what did I say numerous times? I'm not going to be mad if the Lions get the 1 seed at all. I will be happy if the Lions get the 1 seed.
You did say that.
What is the most guaranteed path to a playoff win? That is what I've been standing on this whole time. It's a wild card game against the lowest seed in the NFC. Because at the end of the day, going into the season, at the bare minimum, I want a division win and a wild card or a playoff win. That's all I said. So for me to be putting on a jersey of Rain Dakota Prescott during a watch party is absolutely disgusting.
But do you see Sam's point though? You if you play one less playoff game, okay, guaranteed you'll be more healthy, and you get a team. You'll face a team that you think they could beat.
I understand.
So I'm like confused where the miscommunication.
Because do I have more confidence in them beating a Minnesota Vikings, Washington Commanders at home?
But there's always risk of losing a guy in that game.
There always is, but there's a risk of that in every game. I want to guarantee playoff win. I wouldn't want to wait a week, because what if you get a guy hurt in that game and then you lose the game to an elite quarterback and you have right now a shaky defense? If you play a team in that 7th seed, they have a shaky defense or offense. You talk about Seattle, complete offense that knows how to beat us. Now, I think we would beat Seattle, but I'd still be worried. Cowboys, complete offense, complete defense. I would be confident in them, but I would still be worried. San Francisco 49ers this year, I still think they're the better teams on paper, and right now they have tons more playoff experience. Both of those teams have been in Super Bowls the last 2 years. So if you want to talk about a team that have playoff identity and know how to win in the playoff, it's the San Francisco 49ers and Philadelphia Eagles. I understand you might not have to see that in the NFC Championship round, but if you have to see them at all, I want a playoff win before, and there's no guarantee if you do it in the divisional round. I think you can guarantee it in the wild card round.
The only way you see them is if you've won a playoff game before you see them in the NFC Championship game.
Those guys are going to battle each other.
Oh my God. I've acknowledged that point 1,000 times. Let me ask you something. This is what it's coming down to, truthfully. Do you think the Lions have a better chance against the Minnesota Vikings?
No.
This is where it boils down to me, because I understand you want a Super Bowl. But when you are just making what I'm trying to say, what is the best guaranteed chance for a playoff win? Because that's what the Detroit Lions needed this season.
What's the best chance to make a Super Bowl? I can flip that on you.
100% that. But what do I think is more realistically happening? The Lions winning a Super Bowl? I don't think it's that this year.
It's not about winning, but reaching a Super Bowl. Let's just go reaching a Super Bowl.
I have more confidence the Lions winning 1 or 2 playoff games than I do of them making the Super Bowl this year.
But okay.
That's
where we'll agree to disagree.
I think the Lions are still a year
You
away
play to
from
win the game. Like I want to win a Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
So if I have a better, easier path to get there, and my team can be healthy, I'll take that 100%.
I'm with you. I'm just trying to be realistic about this. Like, I understand it sounds nice, like 1 seed playoffs, but I think just the Lions aren't that team right now. I think they need how to learn to win in the playoffs beforehand.
All right, let's go to break really quick. We just blew past that previous break, but it's a good comp. I'm glad the people you're getting them fired up too. So it's great as always. Even got an STFU to Sam Flannel, so we got a lot of things going on.
He's like, I want you to wear a Cowboys jersey too. Like, shut the fuck up.
You want them to get the 2 seed, obviously, so they gotta lose some games.
I want him to get the 2 seed. I want him to get the 1 seed too. And if I'm gonna be happy with whatever happens. I do not care. It's not like I'm gonna be putting a personal vendetta and my ego in the way of this. But I'm just saying, a number 2 seed I think gives you a more confirmed playoff win than the 1 seed.
All right, let's let me tell you about our friends over at Planet Fitness, because boys, what a transition there. Planet Fitness, home with a judgment-free zone where anybody, and I mean anybody, can work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full body workout in just 30 minutes. And all memberships include fitness training. You'll get all of that and more for just $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
For over 60 years, Fairway Packing Co. has provided Michigan's finest hotels and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged beef. Experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for grab-and-go steaks or order online at fairwaypacking.com. We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Man, what a segment. We just spent like 20 minutes arguing something that we'll never agree on. But you know what, Lucas?
Let me make this very. Your guys' logic is not idiotic by any means. Like I'm not saying you guys are stupid by that means.
We know.
But it's just, what do I prefer for a playoff win? That's how I think the easiest way to get a playoff win is.
Okay.
Like if the Lions get the 1 seed, I'm not gonna be.
I know you're not gonna be upset.
Like, oh my God, we got the 1 seed! I can't believe it. Fuck. Like I just be like, oh God.
But it really speaks to where we are as Lions fans, like that. You know, like you're like, I'll just take a playoff win, which I agree with you. But man, that 1 seed, you give it to anybody in the NFL would take it. And only us would be like, I'm okay with getting the 2nd seed for a playoff win. Like, we're the only organization that would do that. You know that, right?
If you were to hear that the Lions got the 2 seed at the beginning of the season, how happy would you be?
What if I told you they get the 1 seed?
I'm with you, obviously, too. But when you say, like, when you go into
it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. But
expectations change. But when we're talking about playoffs, it's a completely different animal. So I'm just going back to my baseline of expectations. Prove me wrong, and I'll be fucking thrilled. Like, don't get me wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
All right. That's fair. All right. Let's go around the NFL. Speaking of that, we didn't really get to do it yesterday because we had, of course, a victory Monday, so we didn't get to talk a lot about it. But some of the games that happened over the weekend, and I do want to start with the first one because I think this is fitting for Lucas. The Houston Texans and the Cincinnati Bengals, and I was wrong on this one. I picked the Bengals to win this game and cover. Not only did they not win this game, but they did not cover. They lost C.J. Stroud over 350 more yards, and he played well. 2 combined touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 1 through the air. Had an interception, but okay, 2nd interception of the season. Bengals dropped 1 though. They're 5-4, so they're kind of hanging on there, even in their own division, but more likely just holding on for a wild card spot. But the Houston Texans are above 500. Sam Flannel.
Oh yeah,
DeMeco Ryans, hell of a coach, and they got a hell of a quarterback.
I mean, at this point, I would say that C.J. Stroud is, to me, if he's not the MVP frontrunner, he's certainly in the top 3. I mean, especially since like Joe Burrow, they just lost. I mean, the game to the Houston Texans, I think he fell off in the race. Josh Allen obviously fell off in the race and has been falling off since last night. As I said before, even a guy like Patrick Mahomes is not having quite the year that he's had of peak Patrick Mahomes. So yeah, C.J. Stroud is definitely an MVP candidate. He's got Rookie of the Year on lock, and DeMeco Ryans kind of a sneaky Coach of the Year lock as well. The Houston Texans have been one of the greatest stories in the NFL, and if the Jaguars don't stop fucking around, the Houston Texans might challenge them for that division. No joke.
And you know what? And I just want to say this really quickly. I don't want to take away from what DeMeco or what C.J. Stroud, what both of them are doing, because it's incredible. DeMeco as well. I mean, I don't know what their over/under was before the season. Excuse me, but they've already smacked it. They're at 5-4 right now. And honestly, we'll see. They've already beat the Jags. They might be in this division race still. I mean, I know the Jags dropped 1, and I still think they're a good team, but we'll see. Trevor Lawrence, he stinks as of this point. He has not been playing well. But the whole Coach of the Year stuff, I think he's in the race, but I don't think it's fair that he's going to jump Dan Campbell.
I never said he did.
No, not you. I was watching, I'm not going to name the show. It's a national show. And there was three gentlemen on there. They all said, is DeMeco a lock? And they're like, yeah, I'd say he's a lock at this point. What? How is he? How would DeMeco Ryans jump Dan Campbell? He doesn't have the story. Dan has more wins. It's Dan gets the number 1 seed. He's taking that thing home. That's the only thing I do not like, Lucas, is DeMeco Ryans jumping Dan in the Coach of the Year race. That's ridiculous.
DeMeco should be number 2, and C.J. Stroud, in my opinion, should be number 2 in MVP voting right now as well. But DeMeco shouldn't be above Dan Campbell. If DeMeco were to win like a playoff game or 2, okay, now we're talking. But Dan Campbell, what he's doing with the Lions this year, just in the regular season alone, he's hands down Coach of the Year, in my opinion.
Yeah, that storyline was just dumb.
I think how CJ has Rookie of the Year on lock, Dan Campbell, with the Lions get a top 2 seed in the NFC, should have Coach of the Year on lock.
I think he should be second. I think, but to jump Dan, dude, if let's say they finish the year 14-3, no way, Rob Parker, no way, no how. That man jumps Dan Campbell for Coach of the Year.
I mean, do you want me to give you the pathway or no, or should I not? Because
if the Lions lose lose every game the rest of the season, I'll give it to D'Amico.
Okay, that's ridiculous. Obviously, I think if the Lions are 14 and 3 or better, that Dan Campbell should win Coach of the Year damn near unanimously. But what if the Texans get, I don't know, 10 wins and the Lions get 13? The reality is the Lions, even though they didn't make the playoffs last year and they are the Lions, they were expected to win the division. With the Houston Texans, you didn't know what they were going to be. Some people thought that they were going to surprise some people, but there were also like, are they going to be in the top 5 again? So I think there is a pathway for D'Amico Ryans. As of right now, I would still give it to Dan Campbell. But this idea that D'Amico Ryans, even the question of him being in it is asinine. I
didn't
think
say
that's
that.
Crazy.
No, he should be in it. I didn't say that at all. I just think jumping Dan Campbell is crazy. Unless he, again, loses out. Or I don't know. Like Eric Allen says, Houston's win odds were 6.5 wins. I didn't know that. So actually that does change my opinion because maybe they did have high expectations and I even thought they did. But regardless, I just don't like that storyline. I think Dan has done a phenomenal job. He deserves it from where this team was when he first got here till now. He has the story that if they're the number 1 seed, the Lions, give that man Coach of the Year. Sure. The Lions.
I agree.
I think that matters too. But regardless, all right, let's move on. Let's talk about Josh Dobbs, shall we? How fitting. They took down the Saints, and Derek Carr was hurt. He got hurt. And Jameis Winston came in and just continued to he had a pretty good touchdown pass, 2 of them. But Saints are I keep using this word today, but it's kind of fitting for the show. Saints are cooked. And at this point, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Josh Dobbs came in there, almost threw for 300 yards, played a clean game. He looked well. He's mobile. He had 2 combined touchdowns. That's your guy, Lucas. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But the Vikings get another win with Josh Dobbs. They do. They're 6-4.
I mean, and as I've said before, do I think the Vikings are a threat to the Lions? No, but you have to be impressed with the way that they've turned their season around and with how their defense is playing. And with when Kirk Cousins went down, on top of Justin Jefferson already being out, they made a move to get Josh Dobbs, and so far it's working out for them. This is a playoff team. Do I think they're not gonna overtake the Lions in the division, but this is a team that could win 10 games easily. If you see their schedule coming up, they have a lot of winnable games. And hell, and as I've said before, the game at Minnesota is not a gimme anymore. Do I think the Lions would be favored? Absolutely. But I was on the front lines of the Vikings are gonna implode. I was wrong.
Yeah, and I was with you, Sam. I didn't think they do much with Josh Dobbs, but they are. Yeah. And Lucas, I think this is where we can have a little bit of a kumbaya moment.
For what?
Okay, because
Why are we acting like I literally just said Josh Dobbs? they barely beat the Saints yesterday. I literally said why is Josh Dobbs not my guy?
I think
when
we could
coming back down to earth.
Hey, we could. You know what?
Kumbaya.
We could shake hands.
We already did that. We agreed from the
get-go. Because you know what? That was impressive. He beat the Saints. Yeah. Josh Dobbs. It's adorable. You know what he's doing. It's awesome. He's a smart guy, intelligent guy, by the way. I think he could work for NASA if he wasn't in the NFL.
The astronaut.
Yeah, he's an intelligent guy. They could give him a decent game. I think the Vikings it'll be gritty, divisional. But no, I don't. Unless Justin, to your point about Justin Jefferson, he is a game changer. Okay, we can kumbaya there.
We can kumbaya there.
On that one, okay.
For what?
All right, but regardless, Minnesota Vikings are interesting storyline. Speaking of Coach of the Year, Kevin O'Connell is going to be in that race too.
Could be.
Because of what the Vikings are doing without him. Moving on, Steelers beat the Packers, and I don't know how. The Steelers have been outgained yards wise in like almost every game. They're 6-3. Mike Tomlin, put him in Coach of the Year race too.
Yeah, well, that I agree with.
That dude, how? You know what? That's my fault for even trying to dismiss the Steelers. It's not because of Tomlin. It's always been because of Kenny Pickett. I still think he does stink, but they continue to win, Sam. I don't know how they do it. I don't know, and they're great in the fourth quarter, and it works out.
There is no player in the NFL that I hate more, even Baker Mayfield, than Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett is a bum, and for some reason they keep winning. The man in his career, in 21 career starts, has 13 touchdowns and 13 interceptions, and technically as a starter, even though quarterback wins are not a thing, the Steelers are 13-8 in games in which they've started. He is the luckiest quarterback in the history of the NFL, and ain't even close.
Did you know that he has the highest QBR in the fourth quarter out of any quarterback in the NFL?
Did you see how he played in the fourth quarter in the last game?
No, I'm with you. I can't. People that still are on a hill about Kenny Pickett just need to come off it right now and just realize that is all Mike Tomlin. And for whatever reason, and I'm not saying he's a good OC, Matt Canada on the sideline is a little bit better and understood that when you have Kenny Pickett, you might need to run the football a little bit more, especially when you have Jalen Warren back there who went over 100 yards. So I think they're committed to running the ball finally when you have Kenny Pickett at quarterback.
Jalen Warren probably had his best game of the year, and Najee Harris was good too.
Yeah, they both back to back. Out of 2 of the last 3 weeks, they've had both running backs score 2 touchdowns.
That's been helping them running the football because again, it's just how they're winning, and defensively, I think that's the big point of that.
Free George Pickens.
Free George Pickens though. This comment, B. Taylor, a couple weeks ago, they were throwing shade at Tomlin on this very show. Who shades Tomlin on this show? You guys know him? Anybody?
I mean,
who did it? JB.
You're
the voice of reason. Did anybody shade Tomlin?
I've had some questions about Mike Tomlin and his standing in the NFL in like all-time coaches. My thing with Mike Tomlin is he's a very, very good coach, a great coach, but he has had so many playoff flameouts. At this point, he's the Peyton Manning Colts. He's the 90s Atlanta Braves.
John Harbaugh level, right?
Yeah,
which is fair.
I said it was. Yeah. I said John Harbaugh, Sean Payton, Mike Tomlin, and Mike McCarthy are all in the same room.
I don't like Mike McCarthy, but I understand it just because he's got a Super Bowl ring.
I love Mike Tomlin, dude. The guy they just find ways to win. I don't know how. I don't know. Please, whatever you're cooking, whatever recipe it is, please share it because that's incredible what they're doing over there in Pittsburgh. All right, moving on. Let's talk more about, and by the way, just quickly to run through it, Will Levis. Sorry, Booner, he kind of came back down to earth a little bit. But regardless, the Buccaneers took care of the Tennessee Titans. The 49ers whooped the Jags.
Yep.
And I picked the Jags in that game. I'll be on the stand. I'll be on the stand because guys, the Jags, I think at that point they were underdogs at home and they lost. And Brock Purdy, although he had one touchdown throw that was a little sketchy, he played well. So I got to give him credit there. But again, guys, the 49ers at this point seem to be back.
Sure.
They seem to be back.
Sure.
I mean, you beat the Jags, who are on a 5-game winning streak. Yeah. You're a good football team.
Yeah, and before I get to that, I want to get to something Trisha Miller said because she said about Mike Tomlin, he has a Super Bowl. I know, and the Peyton Manning Colts had 1 Super Bowl, and the 90s Atlanta Braves had 1 World Series. I just think that they've underachieved a little bit, and the fact is now, how long has it been since the Steelers have won a Super Bowl with Mike Tomlin going on 15 years? I'm not saying that it's the worst, that he's bad or anything, or that he's not a Hall of Fame coach. I just think we meat-right him a little bit too much sometimes.
Where Flannel always gets flamed is they'll say like the Andy Reids and stuff, and then people bring up Mike Tomlin, and Flannel goes, you can't compare Mike Tomlin to Andy Reid because of the Super Bowls and their playoff resume. Flannel doesn't think that Mike Tomlin's a bad coach at all. They do the BDE treatment whenever he tries to be a little bit more realistic about it. I don't hate the take you have about Mike Tomlin.
Okay, I
as long as
appreciate
you
that,
agree
Lucas.
he's a Hall of Fame coach,
yes.
Right? Okay,
yes.
That's all we
There you
agree
go.
on.
Yeah, that is. I don't think that's arguable.
Sure, and I appreciate that. And yeah, the San Francisco 49ers, I mean, we all know that defensive line, at least personnel-wise, and you saw it when they all played together, is just disgusting. You had Javon Hargraves, Nick Bosa, Chase Young. I mean, everybody was getting to the quarterback.
That secondary was shutting people down.
That secondary was shutting people down. And as much as I hate to say it, Trevor Lawrence, he's regressed a little bit this year.
Yeah, he has. I'll admit it. And
Yeah.
I'm a big Trevor Lawrence guy. I'll admit it. He has not played well this year. He actually looks mid. And that's surprising. They're winning with Trevor Lawrence, not winning because of Trevor Lawrence.
He's had some good games.
I think
he's had one game. He's thrown over 300 yards.
It's less than we would have thought. That's
I think
for
they
sure.
start getting it cooking though. I think this is the game where they need to get woken up a little bit, and I think the Jaguars will start rolling here.
Detroit Dabber 313. Lawrence is allergic to Ridley.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true too. Because I lost a bet with Booter over that. But regardless, moving on. Browns Ravens. Listen, I picked the Browns in that game. I didn't, sit there and say confidently that they would beat them. But hey, I smelled something fishy. Ravens were favored by a touchdown. I thought the Browns would be a bad matchup for them. And I mean, look at the defense, by the way, and what they did to Lamar at least late in the game. But regardless, Deshaun Watson, that's another guy who's cooked.
Are you sure about
until the second
quarter?
half? He was 14 for 14 in the second half. But if you watch the first half, that was bad. I think, did you see the Kyle Hamilton pick six?
Yeah.
That was.
And then they're just in the red zone. He pisses on his leg damn near every time.
But then in the second half, he came back 14 for 14. They won the game. I picked the Browns, so you know what? That's awesome to hear. But regardless, I don't know about that.
But do you know who else was bad? Lamar Jackson. He was. I think his MVP case
it's over.
It's over. I mean, I never thought it was as much of a thing as some people. I thought he was in the race, but in this game, that's just a bad loss. You had and the defense had a lot to do with it too. They didn't have their best day as well. But when you have a 24-9 lead, and when you pretty much consistently control the game, when you force Deshaun Watson, he even had a bad first half for Cleveland Deshaun Watson, for Cleveland Browns.
3
Deshaun
for
Watson.
14, I believe he was.
It was terrible.
Oh my God.
But then the Browns came back. They got how big of a win is that for the Browns?
Because they never win in Baltimore either. Like, going into Baltimore was like the old Lions going into Lambeau. Like, it just never happened.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're one game closer to the Ravens in that division, which that division, I think every team could make the playoffs.
Any one of them can win that.
Which is crazy.
Why did they stop going to Keaton Mitchell?
It's a good question.
Great question.
Was carving up in that first half.
Great question.
They just stopped.
Cowboys took care of the Giants. Yeah, Cowboys do what Cowboys do. They just put up a ton of yards on garbage teams.
Oh, hold on. Let's be honest about this. A lot of people aren't going to like this. I'm about to drop a bomb right now, but you know what? Dak Prescott's in the MVP conversation, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No, there is something I can do about it.
By default, when looking at his numbers, yes, but is he the NFL MVP? Fuck no.
No, but he played. Obviously, he torched the Giants, as everyone does, but he also played well in the previous week against the Eagles. And another thing, can we stop slandering CeeDee Lamb, please?
Yeah, as of right now.
No, I don't think CeeDee's bad, but Dak in the MVP conversation, I guess it is wide open, but
he has 17 touchdowns, 6 picks. The Cowboys are 6-3.
Where was your MVP against Arizona? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Or against a team that's a contender in your own conference, like the San Francisco 49ers.
Well, is Patrick Mahomes automatically out of the MVP race because of the game against Denver? You can have a stinker. You can.
Yeah, but you could argue that the Chiefs have beaten better teams.
Sure.
The Cowboys lost to the Eagles, the 49ers, and the Cardinals.
I'm just saying that in this year's
I'm just reading you who they lost to.
In this year's MVP race, if you want to put your head in the sand and act like Dak Prescott should not even be in the conversation, I just think that's Dak Prescott derangement syndrome, which everyone at this network has, except probably me and Maz.
My thing is I think if you put Dak in there, I think Goff's having this very similar season.
Agreed.
So I just
Agreed.
think, like, people aren't going to put Goff in there anymore, so it's just like to put Dak in there, I don't think you can
They should both be in the conversation.
At least
Yes. Both of them should, then I'm
Yes.
not gonna hate that opinion.
At least Jared Goff has some good wins. You know, like Jared. At least, and again, it is a team game, but Jared went on the road in Arrowhead and they won. Like, what's Dak's resume?
No, I would put.
He played well in a loss against Philly.
I would put at this point.
Like, what's the resume?
I mean, he played better against Philly than Jared Goff did against Kansas City, but that's okay. That's all well and good.
But guess L.
Okay,
okay. So that matters too.
All right, fine. And the Chiefs were playing without Travis Kelce and Chris Jones. But you know what? This isn't a time to prop up Dak, and because I would put Jared Goff right now. I would put Jared Goff right now above Dak Prescott in the MVP race, but they're both top 5. As of right now, they're both top 5.
All right. Well, Seahawks Commanders, huh? Sam Howell, your boy, 3 more touchdown passes.
It's not his fault.
No, it's not. It is not his fault. I mean, he had another 300-yard game. Oh, it's Tuesday. And 3 tutties. Like, the guy is throwing for a crap ton of yards. They only ran the ball 14 times between him, Brian Robinson, and Antonio Gibson. And he just he carved him up.
It's a good secondary.
Carved
good
him up.
defense in general.
Yeah, it is.
They were on the road, weren't they, too?
Yeah, they were. They were in Seattle. So, again, your guy Sam Howell balled out. But, again, Seahawks get a win. They're 6-3. The Seahawks have played a lot of close games. Like, they're in a lot of these games that can go either way. And typically, Geno, as of late, besides this game, he's been making a mistake in the fourth quarter. Something happens in the fourth quarter. But Geno played pretty well too, so the Seahawks earned that one. Commanders, they're kind of a fun team to watch. I like watching Sam Howell, even though Riverboat Ron should be fired.
Yeah, that's the missing equation, Riverboat Ron.
Yeah, but regardless, I think Sam Howell, that take you had, is aging pretty well. Regardless, the last game though, quickly we'll go through it, and we talked about it a little bit on Monday, but Raiders Jets really quickly, and I know I already said it. Zach Wilson, I think that the Jets, and the whole thing about Aaron Rodgers, like teasing coming back, the Jets dropped the ball not getting a dude, getting somebody.
They needed Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs with the Jets would be, I think, an interesting storyline, but they messed up by keeping Zach Wilson and allowing him to be the starter. And the problem is, the backup to Zach Wilson is not as good as Zach Wilson, so they are stuck. And they are going to stink.
If you're a Jets fan, you've got to be sick right now, because not only is this Jets defense good, and we expected big years out of Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner and C.J. Mosley, although Sauce hasn't quite been what he was last year, but still an elite corner. But did anyone foresee the leap from Quincy Williams and Jermaine Johnson? They're both having damn good seasons, and their defense is elite. It's just Zach Wilson is their quarterback, and they couldn't even score a touchdown against the Raiders. Shout out Michael Mayer, by the way.
Yeah, he had a nice touchdown catch. Was that his first of the year?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go to break. Let's go to break here. We get back. We're getting to Top 10 Tuesday. I'm curious. I want to see what Sam's Top 10 looks like. I got mine as well, and then JB and Lucas can react and give our list some criticisms. We'll see if it's fair or not. But first, we got to hear about our friends over at Swiss Insurance.
Absolutely. Do you have football on the brain? Of course you do. Fall ushers in college and professional football, and this year has been awesome. Fall is also a perfect time to shop your home and auto insurance. Shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you too. Ask for Mark at Swiss Insurance today at swissins.com or call 248-800-4177. Again, that is 248-800-4177, Swiss Insurance.
Head over to Feldman Chevrolet. Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer. They got 18 locations, and there's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest to you. And since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. You can catch us and other shows live from Feldman Chevrolet in Novi every other Monday. We'll be there this upcoming Monday.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy? It's Planet Fitness. Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Glorious! Yes, just in time for football. Glorious Cannabis is dropping a brand new ice water bubble hash infused pre-roll called Honolulu Blue. Smells so good it's like the whiff of the first playoff win in 31 years. It's a gassy, aggressive strain named in honor of our Detroit football team. If you haven't had one of these ice water pre-rolls, what are you waiting for? You're missing out. It is so smooth. Find them at a Dispo dispensary near you or check them out online today at gloriouscanna.com.
Glorious! Let's get into it. Top 10 Tuesday. You know what time it is. Me and Sam, we got our top 10 list, top 10 teams in the NFL as of week 10. Now that Monday Night Football wraps up, let's get into Sam's list. We'll try and get through I know we're a little over break. But Sam, break down your list, and I'll get to mine, and Lucas and JB at 9:30 can react to it. But go ahead.
All right, at number 10, I have the Cleveland Browns coming off of an absolutely massive win for them at the Baltimore Ravens. Deshaun Watson actually played a very, very good second half, helped lead him back. Jerome Ford is actually running the ball pretty effectively. The only reason that I put him as low as I do, and not higher, is because I don't trust their quarterback play. They've lost Nick Chubb, and even their defense. They're a very, very good defense this year, borderline great defense this year. Looked a little shaky against the Ravens. So for that reason, I'm going to leave them at number 10. At number 9, the Jacksonville Jaguars. One of the reasons why a lot of us were high on them coming into the year is because we thought Trevor Lawrence was an elite quarterback, and I still think he can be, but this season he is just not playing up to par. Calvin Ridley isn't having the season we all envisioned. Christian Kirk even, he's been better than Calvin Ridley, but still, Travis Etienne has been really their saving grace.
Him and Evan Ingram.
Absolutely. And that defense has also had some good moments as well. But Trevor Lawrence is regressing, and that's concerning if you're a Jaguars fan. At number 8, I have the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, they barely scraped by against the Washington Commanders. That was still a nice win. The Commanders are better than we think. But when it comes to the Seahawks, I thought their biggest strength of their defense was their secondary, and they got lit up by Sam Howell, and I think that's a little bit concerning. Lucas, they did. That's factually correct. Geno Smith, though, had a good game. DK Metcalf is playing well, so is Kenneth Walker, but for now, I got them at 8. At number 7, I have the Miami Dolphins, who, by the numbers, as I always keep saying, have the number 1 offense in the NFL, but it just doesn't look the same when they have to go away from Miami and play good teams. They just have not looked the same, and their defense statistically is bottom 10 when it comes to scoring defense in the NFL. The only way that the Miami Dolphins will do anything in the playoffs is if they get the number 1 seed. Anything less than that, they will lose on the road. At number 6, I have the Dallas Cowboys coming off a blowout win against the New York Giants. As I said, Dak Prescott is having he's having a resurgent season. After last year's bad year, he is playing well. CeeDee Lamb is having the best year of his career, and of course that defense led by Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence is always stout, top 5 in scoring defense. At number 5, I have the Baltimore Ravens. They looked like potentially the best team in the NFL, but they took a bad loss, and Lamar Jackson had one of his worst games of the season, and they kind of seemed to abandon the run game. I mean, Keaton Mitchell, as you said, he got one big touchdown and he wasn't really involved in the game plan the rest of the way. They do have the number 1 scoring defense, but that was just the type of loss that you just can't have, especially if they had aspirations of the 1 seed and maybe a division, and that's why they got to be knocked down a little bit on my list. That's why they're at 5. At number 4, I have the San Francisco 49ers. Welcome back to the season, San Francisco 49ers offense, because Brock Purdy finally looked good again. George Kittle had a damn good game. Christian McCaffrey didn't score a touchdown, but he was impactful. But it was all about that defense holding the Jaguars to just 3 points, led by Javon Hargrave, led by that secondary, led by Nick Bosa, led by Chase Young. Welcome to the team. His impact was shown early on in that game. The 49ers are still legit, and I could see them going on a run to end the year. They're still a threat in the NFC without a shadow of a doubt, maybe even for the 1 seed, although that's a little far-fetched. At number 3, I have our Detroit Lions. Hey, right now the Lions are the number 2 seed in the NFC, and I'll tell you what, that offense on Sunday looked the best that I have ever seen it look in my entire time as a Lions fan. It was just so fluid with the passing game and the run game. The only reason why they are at 3 and not higher is because that defense did look a little bit shaky, and of course I think the 2 teams above them are a little bit better. At number 2, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, what are we about the Kansas City Chiefs? They are a 7-2 team. They are tied for the number 2 scoring defense in the NFL after just shutting down the Miami Dolphins. And you still have Patrick Mahomes. You still have Travis Kelce. You still got Creed Humphrey. You still got Chris Jones. I mean, they're a good team, and they should not be trifled with. And oh, by the way, the greatest coach in the NFL today, Andy Reid. And at number 1, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. They are the only one-loss team in the NFL. Jalen Hurts is looking like an MVP again. A.J. Brown looks like arguably the best receiver in the NFL. They have a top offensive line, a top defensive line, but that pass defense has been very, very shaky, and it's actually bottom 10 in the NFL. But as of right now, as long as they keep taking care of business against this very, very tough stretch of games, I don't see how you can't put them at number 1 until they slip up. So that's my list. That's my flawless list that nobody's going to have any qualms with. Right, chat? Right?
Well, let's put up the real list. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, we agree on a lot of this, Sam, but there are some things that I do not agree with you. Because a lot of it's, to me, at this point, it's kind of standard where you put these teams, so it's not too much I disagree with, but there are some things I definitely disagree with. Throw up my list. Let's see it.
Let me get her for you,
So, a couple things that are different. The back half of the list, we mostly agree. I think Cleveland, I really tried not to put them in my top 10, but you just can't. I mean, the Steelers deserve to be there, just in the outskirts of it. I just don't think the Steelers, this whole 6-3 thing, although it's impressive, I'll give you that, I don't know if it's going to last for them to continue winning games. There's something has to give.
They're going to lose 1 and they're going to win 2, lose 1,
it's going to be something. So I got the Cleveland Browns at 10. I'll give you that, Sam Flannel. Jags at 9. The Seahawks at 8. So it's similar, but Dallas, I do not have over Miami. Dallas's resume, it does not impress me. They whoop. Their point differential gets skewed because they're whooping on ass teams.
All right,
that's a fact.
Let me just say this before you continue.
Top 5 scoring defense. Against who? Tommy DeVito?
You had them at 7. I had them at 6. And when I mentioned the Cowboys at 6, you're just like,
yeah,
you have them at 7.
Yeah, I'm keying.
Keying.
Because again,
one lower than me.
Well, they are. They're at 7. That's where they should be. Miami at 6. I still respect Miami, although they're losing to good teams. They take care of teams, but they actually play good teams close, except for the Bills. They got blown out by the Bills, which is not good. Moving forward, the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Arizona game was too close for me, although they took care of the Lions and the Seahawks. That bumps them up, but still, the Ravens, something's fishy over there with Lamar. He just hasn't been playing. Ever since that Lions game, he has not looked that great. But they are winning, but they didn't win against the Cleveland Browns. Got to knock them. They're top 5 now. San Francisco 49ers boost up the list. They're 4. I still believe in them as one of the better teams in the NFC. I know they lost 3 straight and everyone was out on the 49ers. They're still a damn good team, and they deserve to be in these conversations. I almost put them over the Chiefs, but I can't because the Chiefs have been winning games. But for you to put them over the Lions, I'm gonna keep keying to that.
Okay, fine.
That is absurd. The Lions are better right now than the Chiefs.
They gave up 38 to the Chargers, and the Chiefs gave up 17 and picked off Justin Herbert twice.
Well, if we're going off those games, why don't we look at head-to-head? That matters too.
No Travis Kelce or Chris Jones. But it's fine. It's fine.
All I see is a win.
We'll see.
That's all I see is a win.
Baby.
All I see is a win in the column. That's all I see.
Campbell is 1-0 against Andy Reid in head-to-head matchups.
But remember, guys, I know you guys aren't going to like this, but Ford Field is now Pete Carroll Field. If you want to play that game, we're going to play that game.
No, it doesn't flow.
No,
it
doesn't fit our narrative. So therefore, we will not do that. The Detroit Lions right now, to me, coming off what they did last week, I will put them 2. Now, people might say, well, Jeff, they got destroyed by the Ravens. A lot of this is kind of up and down in this league. There's a lot of ugly losses. I don't want to just hold head-to-heads because technically Seattle should be above the Lions then because they did beat the Lions. I'm going strictly off who I think is the best team. I think Philly is still the best team, but the Lions are in that conversation. If you want to put them 3, if you want to put them 4, fine. I don't think they're worse than the Kansas City Chiefs. That's your opinion. But again, I can't put the 49ers over the Lions because they've just lost 3 straight. They're just getting back on track. And the Ravens, that loss last week wasn't great either, especially how they played in the first half. So, and then they played terrible in the second half. So that's my list. That's how I feel like it's fair. The top 10 teams. We agree on some, Sam, but we disagree on others. Let's go to break, and then JB and Lucas can pick our lists apart and tell us, what they agree with, what they don't agree with. All right, but first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Big Boy because, guys, wintertime in Detroit is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy, of course. If you want breakfast, they got that too. Their classic, the potato pancakes are back. As you can see, they got apple pie hot cakes. Yes, I said that, and they're too good to miss. Top it off with all the gingerbread shake for dessert, and you can stop by your local Big Boy today. They'll get you right.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Let's talk about Outdoor Equipment Company, official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan-grown, family-owned, bad boy mowers, tractors, steel handhelds, and even weed whippers. Liberty trailers, Generac generators, Snow X plows, and salters. Outdoor Equipment Co. has it all. Buy it, rent it, 0% financing, delivery to your doorstep. Visit the website at outdoorequipco.com.
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you guys for tuning in. And by the way, just to answer some of these questions, because people are bringing up Baltimore and why do you have the Lions ranked over them? Because, of course, the Baltimore Ravens took care of the Lions. It's not all about, to me, and even if I mentioned the jokes about how the Lions beat the Chiefs, take that away, I still think the Lions are better. That's why I have my rankings the way they do. It's not always about head-to-head, because if we did head-to-head, I could put the Broncos ahead of the Chiefs. Like, I'm not doing that. So, it's just all this. I don't go off strictly head-to-head, guys. I go off who I think is the better team, and I think the Lions are the better team at this point. Yeah. But we'll see. Ravens, they could string off 3-4 wins, and they could change. It's a week-to-week power ranking. That's how that works. But Lucas, JB, what do you like? What don't you like?
All right, so I'll pop them both up. And honestly, I like both your guys' lists. I really don't have too much. The one thing that I would say, and again, this is why I don't hate it, because the Browns just had a big win. If I was making this list, I'd put the Houston Texans at 10. That's the only, one. Flannel, I would switch the Lions and Chiefs, obviously, but we know how much you love your Chiefs, so I'm not going to hold you on to it too much. Otherwise than that, fellas, this week, I think you cleaned up well. I don't think there's too much grading to go. I would just put the Texans at 10 for me personally. I know their record's a little bit worse, but I just think how they're playing right now, that's the only reason I would. I trust C.J. Stroud a lot more than Deshaun Watson, but Cleveland's defense is arguably the best in the league, so I don't hate it. I look at Jacksonville. Maybe I'd put them at 10, honestly. Mm-hmm. And then that's where now I'm coming in between the conversation of do I like Jacksonville or Cincinnati more? I know Cincinnati just took a tough loss, but they also just put together crazy last month of the season. They're eventually going to come down to earth eventually for a game. But I don't hate it. I think you guys cleaned up well this week.
Yeah, I think these are kind of undisputed. At least to me, Sam, we agree. Those are kind of the undisputed 10 teams.
Sure.
Like, I mean, if you want to, just based off record, but also based on resume. And we have them, actually. So the back half, we have very similar, because put up our list one more time,
Gotcha.
And I'll explain why I have. This is how I thought about it. Okay, Cleveland's 10. They deserve to be there, although if you want to put Houston with the way they've been playing, that's fair. But I still think if you want to line it up like this, I think the Jags would beat the Browns, just with how Deshaun Watson played in the first half. And then you go up, Seattle's playing better than the Jags. And the Dallas Cowboys, although I smell fraud, I think they'd beat the Seahawks, Jags, and Cleveland. It's kind of like that. I think the Miami Dolphins would give the Dallas Cowboys a good game and probably beat the other teams. So it's that's how I rank these teams. Like Baltimore, I think would beat everyone under them, and so on and so forth. I guess the place where it can be debated is the top 5, because Baltimore beat the Lions. You could argue the 49ers could beat any other team. So top 5, it's more just opinionated, but the back half of the list, me and Sam pretty much agreed. Like those teams in order, I think are best to worst, going down to 10.
Yeah, I mean our lists are practically the same. The only difference we have is I have the Cowboys higher and I have the Chiefs over the Lions.
Yeah, and we just disagree there, but everything else we agree with.
It's the great thing about as the season plays out, it's easier to make lists at this point, because when everybody's played 2 games or whatnot, I mean, we were all ready to bury like the Cincinnati Bengals, for example, and they turn out that they're probably going to be okay. Although if they lose on Thursday, they might not be. But
they
that's
play
a
the
whole
Ravens. That's a huge game for the AFC. I had finally an actually good Thursday night game too.
You get a great Thursday night game and a great Monday night game.
It's a touchdown game too. I don't remember if it's for I think the Bengals, because it's in Baltimore, isn't it? I believe so. I believe the Bengals are a touchdown underdog right now.
Ooh, wow. Those are some.
They could have changed, and I could be wrong, but
I think they'll cover that. I don't know.
I think
touchdown
the Bengals will win. The Bengals always fuck on the Ravens.
No, it's Baltimore minus 3.5.
Baltimore minus. Okay, so I'm completely wrong. Okay.
Still, I think I might pick him outright.
Marlon Humphrey got hurt. He's feared it tore his Achilles. He always gets hurt at the worst time of the year for the Ravens. That's a huge loss for him.
JB, what do you think? Anything you don't like about our list? Any of our lists, or things you do like?
You know what? Honestly, both of them are pretty fair. I like both of them. I would flip-flop KC and Detroit. Sorry, Flannel, but that's just my opinion as well, too. Eventually, I think we have to start putting Houston in this list.
I think they're coming.
It might
be
next week, but you got to start giving them their credit as is. Dallas, whatever. I still don't like the Cowboys as is. They got their taco win this past week against the Giants, which is fair. But I like
we
both
them
your guys'
boys, baby.
We them boys. All right, that's fair. Yeah, and again, this kind of speaks to how we commonly disagree. It's always Lions, Chiefs, we disagree on that, and that's a common theme of the show. And then the Dolphins, Cowboys, I'm lower on the Cowboys than you are. So it's like it's kind of fitting. It works with what we disagree with.
No, I just think this entire network as a whole has a little bit of Dallas Cowboys derangement syndrome.
I just show me the resume. That's what I've been asking.
No, show me the resume ever.
Like the resume of the season. What? Why?
Well, I mean, I've said this a million times, but Lindsey Hunter, who's a 49ers fan, always just dismisses the Cowboys and calls them the Cowgirls. The Cowboys have won a Super Bowl more recently than the 49ers.
Yeah, but how many times did the 49ers just curb stomp the Cowboys in crucial situations?
Last couple times in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's why he does that.
Okay, but the 49ers are not some consummate winning franchise.
Neither are the Cowboys.
I know, but they're closer than we think. We act like the 49ers.
Let me read off like Dallas Cowboy wins. Like this is why I have a problem. Okay, you got New York, Giants and Jets. They beat them both. Cool, destroyed them. They beat the Patriots, they beat the Chargers, they beat the Rams, and they beat the Giants again.
Yeah.
That's your wins.
Sure.
They've lost to the Cardinals, they've lost to the 49ers, and they've lost to the Eagles.
I mean, and the Lions beat Desmond Ritter, Bryce Young, Baker Mayfield. I'm just saying.
Who's better, the Falcons or the Giants?
Falcons.
Falcons or the Jets?
That's a toss-up.
No, okay.
Come on. The Falcons are ass.
Dude, you just got to score more than 10 points. You'll beat the Jets.
Okay, fine, but the Jets have a better defense. All right, it's whatever.
But my point, and then you got New England.
Terrible.
Okay.
Terrible.
And then they just whopped the Giants again. So it's like that's my issue. It's just the resume. Like if they faced anybody with a pulse, they lose.
Fine.
Even the Cardinals, Dobbs had a little bit of a pulse, huh?
Yeah. Josh Dobbs looked like Patrick Mahomes out there with the Lions beat.
So I don't know. That's my problem with the Cowboys. It's not just straight hate. I mean, yeah, I hate the Cowboys, but I'm actually trying to be realistic. Like I just don't. What's the resume? I mean,
they're 6-3.
Resume. The wins, yes, but I'm talking who they've beaten. I mean, they still have Seattle, Philly, and Buffalo, and Miami. So of course they have more time.
Time will tell.
Do they play Seattle this week?
They do not. They play the Cardinals next week.
Who?
Or excuse me, I'm sorry, the Panthers, not the Cardinals.
Okay.
Yeah, the Panthers. Which, good one, you know. Hopefully they'll beat them.
This is that time when everybody starts hopping on Dallas's bandwagon again. Right before the playoffs, they always look real good because they're beating up on them. Then they'll play Philly right before the playoffs again, get stomped. Then everybody was like, okay, now the Cowboys are ready to play. And then the people with logical brain cells are like, no, this is just another Dallas Cowboys.
And they still got Sam Howell, huh?
That's it. And the Commanders always, especially late in the season, they always try to upset one of those NFC East teams that are going in there. So Sam Howell probably will pull up an upset if history repeats itself.
Yeah, and that's why I'm one of my favorite games I'm looking forward to is that Detroit at Dallas. That's going to be a great game. I cannot wait for that. We're going to have a lot of fun on the show with that.
It's a game of the year candidate for sure.
Yeah, it is. And that's Sunday night football. Or Saturday. That's actually on Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday night. Well, that's kind of weird to say. Saturday night football.
Like Christmas time?
Yeah, it's before Christmas Eve.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, I'm sorry. Before New Year's Eve, December 30th. So I messed that up. I don't know why I said Christmas Eve. Yeah, before New Year's Eve. It's the December 30th on a Saturday. That'll be kind of interesting. We'll be here on a Saturday then. We'll watch that game together.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. All right.
On Sunday.
And then we'll go to break. We'll get back. We'll do what's trending with Lucas. Then we'll get to mailbag. But first, we got to hear about our friends over at Guardian Alarm.
Of course,
better than that Cowboys defense. I'll tell you that.
Yes, because they're one of the best defenses around. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Calls anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Stay out.
That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports Crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions!
With money on the line, featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Join Braylon Edwards and the Dispo Dispensary family at their Hazel Park location on Tuesday, November 21st for their Thanksgiving turkey giveaway. Starting at noon, Dispo will be giving away Thanksgiving turkeys over the course of the day. All you have to do is purchase any product from Dispo Hazel Park on Tuesday afternoon, and you'll receive your turkey available while supplies last. Dispo Hazel Park is located at 634 West 9 Mile Road in Hazel Park, Michigan. Pull up, re-up, and grab your bird for Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, we'll be there Friday, won't we?
Ooh, yep, Dispo Romeo.
Wow, it's always a blast, man. Those guys are great. Shout out to Sean, Darren, and everybody over at Dispo.
Gonna need some after this, after all your Josh Dobbs comparison, saying that I love him. You gotta stop that narrative. That was never a narrative that was started by me, by the way. Just so we can make that clear.
That's payback for you trying to convince everyone I like Baker.
You like Baker. Well, you were scared of Baker.
I was not. I was never scared of Baker.
Like Easy was Desmond Ritter.
I never was scared of Baker.
Easy was actually scared of Desmond Ritter.
I actually went on tangents on why I think Baker will crap the bed.
Or one Jordan Love.
I'll give you that one. Because at the time, I was like, is he? I don't know if he's good or not. I didn't know. But now we know he stinks.
Early in the season. That's
but don't ever say I was scared of Baker. That is he stinks. Eric Allen, Jeff, you guys will be there this Friday. Yes, we will. We will. Booner chiming in. To be fair, Baker's having a better year than your guy Trevor.
And your guy Josh Allen too, probably.
Oh yeah, his guy, yeah. I think it might. Wait, what? Yeah, his guy Josh Allen.
Booner was taking victory laps after week 3 about Josh Allen MVP. Dude.
Yeah, he was. He really was. He really was. All right, Lucas, you know what time it is. Check the clock. Check your watches.
Speaking
what do you
of
got
those
for us?
Bills, and speaking of those Cowboys, Trayvon Diggs, he was watching the game yesterday, and he decided to put out on Twitter, well, X now, that 14, Stephon Diggs, he needs to get the fuck out of Buffalo. So, do we think there's already been a lot of noise with Stephon Diggs in general about Buffalo going into this season? That was the big issue. It was what's Stephon doing in Buffalo? There's always problems. Do you think this will be the last year that we see Stephon Diggs in a Buffalo Bills uniform?
This is my problem with this, and I get why his brother Trayvon will be frustrated. I get why Stephon will be frustrated because he should be more a bigger part, at least of lately, of their game plan. I mean, it's Stephon freaking Diggs. But the other part of it, Sam, is where could he go to get a better quarterback? I mean, you can go to the Chiefs, Bengals,
Houston.
Could you
imagine that?
Houston would be nasty. Stephon did this in Minnesota. He was putting up numbers. He said, I want to go to the Buffalo Bills. He got a better quarterback. He's been putting up great numbers. And now he wants to leave again? I mean, where are you going? I think the bet for him individually, it should be to stay in Buffalo. But they have to figure that out and get Stephon actually involved. I just don't want to. If he leaves, I mean, where?
Well,
where?
It's a tough one for Stephon Diggs because on one hand, the Buffalo Bills and that situation with Josh Allen as his quarterback, especially like 2020 era Josh Allen when he was like the elite of the elite, that situation probably turned Stephon Diggs into a future Hall of Famer, which he was not one in Minnesota. He was very, very good. Mm-hmm. They haven't quite gotten over that hump of a Super Bowl. I would say it would behoove Stephon Diggs to stay in Buffalo, but if they don't make the playoffs, if they don't even make the playoffs, the Buffalo Bills, which is looking very, very likely, by the way.
Playoffs?
Exactly, Jim Mora. I can't even fault anyone for wanting to get out. Do the Buffalo Bills blow it up at some point? I can't even imagine.
I just think he can't. The Bills are in a weird situation. I think they'll make a coaching change. I think Sean McDermott will be fired, and they'll probably bring in an offensive mind.
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson
in Buffalo? That would be something. That would be something.
At least Ben would actually commit to running the football for more than just 1-2 games sample size. But yeah, I don't think anywhere else. I mean, I know someone brought up the Chiefs. They can't even afford him. They can't afford Diggs.
No.
So where?
And they're not. The Bills aren't going to send him to the Chiefs, and even the Texans. To what I was saying earlier, I doubt they're not going to keep him inside the AFC.
Like where? That's my only point. Is that if the grass isn't always greener, Stefan. I mean, you're going to put up the numbers you want to put up in Buffalo, but they actually have to start using them more. Last night was inexcusable. Like it was. There's no way. That's how I feel about it.
But another guy, and this isn't. I'm not saying that the Lions are going to get him just because it's so the waivers are just so long and the Lions are so high up on the waiver order, but New England, there's some developments there. Star corner, Jack Jones. He just got released yesterday, and the Lions obviously have some needs at the cornerback position. Jack Jones in New England, he's a great man-to-man corner. Had a game-sealing pick 6 against Aaron Rodgers last year, had a pick against Jared Goff as well last year. He's a productive corner, but with a lot of off-the-field issues. He got busted at Logan Airport with guns, and then even after that, he's having troubles in New England's their facilities just with off-the-field issues. So do you think there's any chance that Brad Holmes is able to pull the strings if he wants to, just because it doesn't seem like the perfect fit? And if not, do you think he's going to land on another contender?
Two things, and I'll answer the last question. Yes, I do. Two things for the Lions, though. One, he doesn't fit what Brad and them have been preaching with character stuff. And although even if I don't agree with it, I don't see them doing that with Jack Jones. And number two, they won't even get him because if he's on the waiver wire, someone's going to claim him before he gets to the Lions. So he's not going to get to the Lions anyway. But even if he was there, I don't think this is a type of guy Brad and Dan would bring in. Even though they do need help in the secondary, I agree with that.
That's the thing, because the Detroit Lions, it's clear that Brad Holmes and it's clear that Dan Campbell value high character guys. But the good news is those high character guys that they already have are pretty damn talented, and they are 7-2, and their floor for the season is probably 13-4. Do they need Jack Jones? Could they use Jack Jones? Sure, he had a very, very good rookie year. The situation this season has just been a complete mess all around with both off the field and on the field. He hasn't played very well either. Could he help this team, especially with Emmanuel Mosley not playing at all this year for all intents and purposes? Sure, it would help, but I don't see it from the Lions. Would I want to do it? Probably. Brad Holmes, not a chance in hell.
I agree.
JB, what do you think? Jack Jones, great player, but a lot of off-the-field issues, and he's got to go through waivers. Any chance the Lions get him?
More than likely not. As Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have said, they want guys that fit this culture. And obviously, if we're going to sit here and pass on Chase Young and Ndamukong Suh, all these others, I don't think this is someone they're going to go after and pursue either, especially with the off-the-field issues. Like, they're building something here, and obviously Brad Holmes has something in mind down the line, future plans, but I don't think he's in their plans as of right now, so it's a pass.
Answer 14 says, Damn Jones is intriguing, but got to fit and make sense. Detroit Arrow, Jones ain't a ball player. He's not about ball. Brian Ruth says, not an MCDC guy.
Can't disagree with this.
Real Cream of Wheat says, I would welcome Harbaugh to rejoin the Bears so I could hate him even more. That's an interesting point. Coach Walk 37, nope, his character is terrible.
Coach Walk? I feel like we haven't heard from Coach Walk
in
a minute.
Coach Walk, man.
Hey. Coach
showed
Walk.
him some love. He's back in the chat. Appreciate you, Coach Walk. But yeah, I agree with the chat there. I think we're all on the same page. I don't think that he's the guy they would bring in.
That's like
even if he fell to them.
That's like one of those typical like Madden fantasy football, there's Neil Rule, like these type of moves. I don't think there's any chance that it happens.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But that's it, fellas. Let's get into some mailbag.
Let's do it. Let's get the mailbag. But first, we're going to hear about our friends from Lady Jane's.
Absolutely. Come to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, where I get this A+ haircut from the A+ stylists. And you can get an award-winning haircut experience as well. Register to win a trip of your dreams and all expenses paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament. That's right, no expense spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Burgers and chicken sandwiches are taking over at Big Boy. Try our new pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Turn up the heat with Bob's Hot Chicken Sandwich. Upgrade those regular fries with our chili cheese fries or loaded baked potato fries. Hit your sweet tooth with funnel cake fries or Reese's chocolate peanut butter thunder cake. Load up on all your favorites today at Big Boy.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. And they're on at Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. It's Les Stanford. Check them out. Les Stanford in Dearborn today. Find the brand you want at lesstanford.com. All right, let's get to mailbag. The questions are already coming through. And let's start with this one. Brandon asked, mailbag, BJ is amazing. Okay, pause there. Ben Johnson is amazing, but do you think that he looks better because of the O-line? A good O-line can really make a lot of people look better. You think because of the great O-line, Ben knows he should stay. That was a lot there. I would say any good O-line would make any offensive coordinator better. And there's been times where the offensive line has not been healthy and they've still been able to produce. So I wouldn't go that far. I think Ben would even say, yeah, this O-line makes me better, but I'm not going to say the O-line is because of why he's had success.
And what people got to take into account is the things that Ben Johnson is doing with this offensive line. Like, this offensive line is great, but Ben Johnson is taking it to another level. The way that he manipulates the run blocking schemes, putting Jonah Jackson and Penei Sewell in the open field all the time. Like, yes, this is the best offensive line in football right now, and it helps Ben Johnson, but Ben Johnson's also helping this offensive line.
And I want to ask you, Sam, this question. Shad asks, your favorite member of the Woodward Sports Chat, Shad, mailbag. Why can't Mahomes win without Kelsey, but Goff can win without St. Brown, half the O-line, DeMont, and CJGJ?
Oh, Jesus. Do you actually... I actually think Shad... And yes, you're Shad. You're not Shad. I'm calling you Shad. I believe that you actually think Jared Goff is better than Patrick Mahomes, and that is the most asinine take of all time. Here's the thing.
I think he's just asking a question.
Let me say this though. Yeah, the Lions beat the Panthers, the 1-8 or 1-9 Panthers without Amon-Ra St. Brown. They won some games without David Montgomery. But here's the thing. The Kansas City Chiefs, they lost Tyrann Mathieu and Tyreek Hill in offseason and won the Super Bowl.
We're talking about this year, though, Flannel.
Yeah,
okay, fine.
He's just asking a question.
The Lions are a damn good football team. They're a damn good football team. They've beaten a lot of teams. Losing to the Panthers, beating the Panthers, beating, I don't know who.
Answer the question. Why can't Mahomes beat the Lions without Kelsey or Jones, but Jared's been doing it without a lot of different pieces missing?
Because the Lions
you seem to bring that up every time we mention the Lions.
Because the Lions are one of the best teams in the NFL. And when you're missing your second and third best player on your team, it's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you.
Okay.
It's not going to hurt you as much when you're playing the Panthers. And I'm not disparaging the Lions at all. I'm just saying that...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Shad got it. Yeah, a little. There's a little.
That's a difficult question to navigate.
I love it, Shad. Answer the tough questions.
So therefore, Jared Goff is better than Patrick Mahomes. That's what Trisha Miller would say. I guarantee that. I guarantee that's what Shad would say.
Don't bring Trisha.
I guarantee it.
Don't bring Trisha into
I am going to bring Trisha into it.
Leave Trisha out of this flannel.
Some people in the chat, and a lot of people are really not going to like this, but I don't give a damn. Think that the only good players in the NFL play in Detroit, Michigan. That's facts. If they don't play in Detroit, automatically they're less than.
Okay.
And I get it. The Lions are a damn good football team, but come on, because I'm gonna get it right up in ya.
Oh damn! All right, that is funny. Wow, that dropped. JB, thank you for not targeting me. I appreciate that. I do. This comment. Man, that's funny. Eric, really quickly, he has a not a question, but a statement, or just actually a question not related to mailbag. How long do you guys plan on hanging out at Dispo on Friday? I want to finally meet you guys in person. Not a mailbag question. We'll be there for most of the day. We usually hang out post-morning Woodward show for hours. Mm-hmm. So as long as you're there anywhere from 8 to I don't know,
We
2.
get stimulated after the show.
Yeah, well, we'll be chilling, hanging out, talking to people. So come hang out, Eric. We'll make sure we chop it up with you. Let's see here. I'm trying to get to as many questions. There's a lot coming in here. David says, Mailbag Jeff, does the Glorious give Lucas playoff paranoia? That's a question for him.
What was it?
Does the Glorious Cannabis give you a little bit of playoff paranoia?
I would say even without it, I have a little playoff paranoia.
Okay.
Because do you remember those last 2 games, playoff games that the Lions were in? Justin Durant against the Cowboys with that bullshit pass interference against Brandon Pettigrew. Who was that receiver for? Was it Paul Richardson for the Seahawks with that had the face mask? I believe it was Quandre Diggs.
Paul Richardson.
Paul Richardson Jr. Man, that was a dude for a little bit.
He was.
But I'm seen 2 playoff games from the Lions. Both of them scared the fuck out of me. I want the easiest possible playoff win possible.
Paul Richardson, he's a Colorado man.
He is.
Yeah. Hey. All right.
4-8 football team.
Jesse Adams, Mailbag, who cried more this weekend in their house? Coach Prime or Sherrell Moore or Brandon Staley? I would say Prime first. I know Sam laughed at Colorado Saturday.
Of course I did, because Deion Sanders isn't a good football coach, and I stand by that. The fact that people are saying that he
has that outcome in half, not even full season.
The fact that people are saying that he should take over at Texas A&M. If you're Texas A&M and you hire Deion Sanders, you must be outside your mind. That man can't coach.
He
can't coach.
Would make you think that I care about your opinion.
Yeah,
he probably doesn't. But they're going to be a 4-8 football team after people were saying at the beginning of the year that they could win 8 or 9 games.
Judging that team this year like saying you're not a great coach, or you're not even that. You said he's not a good coach. That is wild.
Okay, but after the TCU
that
game,
is wild.
You want to talk about blowing of wads? The entire media, Coach Prime. Oh
no,
my
but
God.
you're going the complete opposite. Which is fine. You don't have to say he's great, but I would say he's a bad coach.
He's
at
a
all.
bad coach.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to revisit this one. I think that'll be one of your more. That'll be
like a Scott Frost take.
Yeah, that's going to age poorly.
People are acting like he's going to win natties or something.
You're taking it
No,
all the
I'm
way.
talking
You're saying
about
he's
in
a
the
bad
future.
coach. Stand
he's a
on
bad
that.
coach. He's a bad coach.
He's a terrible coach.
They'll be 4-8. Shedeur Sanders' draft stock is tanking.
Okay.
Travis Hunter's draft stock is tanking. Come on.
He's a terrible coach, according to you.
Maybe stop playing your both sides of the way player 100 snaps a game, because Travis Hunter is a damn talented player. He's one of the most talented players in the country, but he's getting worn down.
Yeah, okay.
Run the football a little bit more instead of having Shedeur drop back 40, 45
They
times.
don't have an offensive line.
They are the
Sam.
most penalized team in the entirety of college football, and they've given up the second most sacks in the entirety of college football.
Because that sounds like offensive line.
I know, it's all the offensive line.
No, that's a fact.
Oh my God, it's a miracle. They're going to win 4 games after only winning 1 last year, and it's a rousing success. Nobody would have said that after the TCU game. Nobody!
That's a Michigan fan.
Legend killer.
What are you talking about, a Michigan fan?
They beat a team you couldn't beat.
We're fucking
That's what it
undefeated.
sounds
We're
like.
10-0. We are fine. Colorado is not fine. They're gonna fire Deion Sanders, and I will laugh.
If Coach Prime was
They're
coaching,
gonna fire Deion Sanders.
Not after this year.
No. He's high. You know why? You know what I believe? If you put Deion and he filled in for Sherrell Moore, they'd still be 2-0. But he's going off just his coaching.
No, because Sharon Moore.
Oh, he's an excellent. Sharon Moore is a guru.
Sharon Moore actually managed the game correctly, unlike
because
James
they got
Franklin.
a stacked roster.
Okay, fine, but Deion Sanders, you don't know if he wouldn't have done that. Sharon Moore won that game. He managed the game correctly.
This man, Sharon Moore, a better coach than
passing yards.
Yeah, that is absurd. Oh gosh. Yeah, with Deion filling in for Jim Harbaugh. Such a tough job with that team.
What has he done that has people just dick riding him so much as a coach? Nothing. He's one of the greatest defensive football players of all time, and he was a two-sport athlete. That's great. He can't coach.
College football, and your coach couldn't win a bowl game. Okay, so
okay, congratulations, 2 college football players in a row, no bowl game.
But I'm saying you need a roster, Sam. Could you agree there?
Yes.
So
and
your
they
argument's
brought in
invalid.
a bunch of new transfers like Travis Hunter, like Shedeur Sanders, like Shiloh Sanders, like Xavier Weaver, like Jimmy Horn Jr.
Oh, Jimmy Horn
It's
Jr.
not the same team as last year, Jeff. He told all those people to transfer.
And that's why they're winning more games in 1 game.
Yeah.
Oh my God, 4 wins!
Do you consider playing?
They're not going to make a bowl game.
Hey, just because you're freaking out and getting loud, Sam, doesn't make you right. Okay, so you're still wrong. Deion's he's not a bad coach. That's where you're a little.
Jesse Adams, he beat Colorado State, and he's joking. Obviously, I agree with him. And
do you think Deion's a better coach than Brady Hoke?
No.
Oh my god.
No.
Like, dude, he's like, it's actually personal with Sam. Like, that's how I know this is all BS.
Brady
like,
Hook had an 11-win season at Michigan. He did.
Dude,
where?
Michigan.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, he does. I don't think you understand how to build a college football program. You can't just walk into Colorado and win 10 games. Like, I'm sorry, Sam. I know you just can't.
You like Matt Rule as a college coach, right? You think he's a good coach?
Yeah, at Baylor, he got them to 10-win seasons too.
So, and how many seasons did it take him to do that? Do you remember?
A few.
He was 1 in 10.
No, that doesn't fit Sam's argument.
He was 1 in 10 his first year at Baylor.
That doesn't fit his argument.
No, wait.
That doesn't fit his narrative.
But nobody was blowing their wads over Matt Rule at the beginning.
Prime is a different person than Matt Rule. The fact that they're different persons is I can get why you get annoyed by the media attention, but to think that Deion just a bad coach because he got all this attention. Because people like Deion because he's a former NFL player, he's gonna get more attention. But to just say that he's a terrible coach after you watched
that's
him
absurd.
Improve a team in one season, like if you're just gonna say he's a bad coach after one season, he's
absurd.
not Matt Eberflus, bro. He's not Matt Eberflus in college football.
Sam it sounds like you kind of expected him to do well this year, based on what you think of Deion.
They're gonna finish last in the Pac-12 when they lose at Washington State. And everybody's perfectly okay with that.
No, what are you talking?
Yes, they are. Are you kidding me? You're saying they won 4 games.
What do you want us to do? Throw a fucking tantrum?
Yeah,
what do you want us to do?
I don't know. I just think calling him a bad coach is
They committed the miracle of all miracles. They're going to quadruple their win total from last season.
That sounds pretty damn good.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, this isn't the NFL, Sam. You can't.
Is Dan Campbell a good coach?
Yes.
How many games did he win his first year?
Yes,
3.
Sam would have called Dan an awful coach in year 1.
And do you think it has to do with his coaching or the players that were around him that year?
Probably more the roster.
Okay, let's just end the show, dude.
Okay, I know you guys own me. You guys own me. I can't wait. They're going to be 4-8 this year, and they're not going to win anything next year, and they're not going to win anything the year after.
So they're never going to win more than 4 games?
They might win 6 or 7 in the next couple of years. They're not going to be a national championship conversation.
I don't expect them to be a national championship.
All right, let's get out of here. I'm about to, I wish I had a time machine. I could just fast forward 3 years. I want to revisit this right now. All right. Thank you guys for everything. Tuning into the show, showing support, man. We appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow for another great show. Getting closer.
Hit that like button. Get us to 200.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit the like button. Kool-Aid will be joining us tomorrow to break down the Pistons. They stink. They've lost 8 straight. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. And then John Macron will join us Thursday. So a packed schedule the rest of the week. We appreciate you. A lot of heated discussions, tough conversations, and a lot of prime hate today.
Give me that 2 seed.
But thank you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Tune in the rest of the network. Big Energy 11 to 1. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz 2 to 4. Heavyweights 5 to 7. And close your night out with Woodward nights 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Until tomorrow on the Morning Woodward Show crew. We'll see you.